is amazing. Oh, it's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Moskin and Cam Water.
For the first time here for season 3. Davis on pole, Vandergren in second. It's going to be sprint round action here tonight. Let's go racing here at Daytona. It was a good start there from Davis in comparison to Vandergren in behind. Cowan's absolutely bogged it up and already dropped out of the top 3 here as they come down towards turn 1 for the first time. There's biffing and barging between Gallen and Cowan. These guys are still going at it after last season. They survived for this time by though. Through turn 2 and 3 they come. Nice and clean, boys. Keep it up as they come up to...
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannons insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannon's.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Through turn 1, it was a horrible start from De Bono. He's absolutely bogged it up and gets eaten alive by Dixon and Gowans as they come on through. Through turn 1 they come and they all spread out around in towards the first sector of the Silverstone circuit. They look all right at the moment. Okay, there's already been a car spun round. That's Jordan Ferguson offline.
Is green, green, green at Road Atlanta here as well. Faulkner did get away. De Bono is tucked in as well. Unfortunately, Houghton is on that outside line. De Bono does want to turn it to turns. He's got the job. De Bono's overtaken. Now can he get Ben Faulkner up through turns for 2 and 3? They go round the right-hander, dropping down the hill. Faulkner's out in front. De Bono second. Houghton third. Ratcliffe in fourth. No real dramas going into turn 1.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
Amazing. Oh, it's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Moskin and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to snip on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tannock and Jamie Dyson just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't committed, which is fair enough. It's pretty scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. You know, when you can see him get a good run, jumping Dodds, just absolute thinker, but it is a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Sim Racing World TV, and welcome into the Cooler Master Super Formula Championship here for round number 8 of Season 3 of 2024 out of Brands Hatch Circuit for a massive penultimate round before the final round next week out at Aragon. The last chance these drivers have to be able to drop their points from any of these rounds will be as of tonight. I'm your commentator here, Hamish Munro, as always joined by Brad Hudson. Hutto, massive night of racing tonight. If anyone's going to have a poor round, and they haven't so far, they want it to be tonight and not next week. It's getting down to the nitty and gritty. And right now, they need to try and maximise on every finish that they possibly can leading into next week at Aragon.
Yeah, good evening, Hamish. You're absolutely not wrong. This night is very, very important. Like you said, it's the last of the droppable rounds before we head into the final round next week. So there's a few drivers that still have that drop round in their pocket. There's a few that have already used it by being away for one reason or another. But I can also tell you there's 2 drivers that may be able to wrap up a championship tonight, but it all depends on how tonight plays out, Hamish.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very dependent for those drivers. That would be for the amateur title for Matt Tessariero and for the Pro-Am title for Tyler Sheaf. As well. So those guys have got the opportunity tonight to lock in their championships and lock themselves into a title, into a class promotion for next season, of course, Hutto. So it's going to be a good opportunity for them to really just be able to let themselves shine out on track. Now, speaking of the amateurs, we'll quickly bring up our amateur standings, of course. That needs to be much, much bigger. Why is that so small? Fantastic. So just quickly on our amateur standings, of course, Matt Tessariero leads the championship at the moment before drop rounds by 65 points at this stage in time. In behind him, of course, Callum Rosanita and then Mitch Noble in P3. And they, realistically speaking, are the only 3 competitors who could win this championship, but Mitch is a real outside edge at this stage.
Yeah, I think Tessariero has just been fantastic all season, and since he moved to Velocity Racing Team mid-season, he's just...
Oh, you cut out then, Hutto, you back?
Possibly.
You're back.
Right, so, yeah, Tessariero has been driving fantastically. I think something drastic would have to happen this evening and next week for Tessariero to actually make this one slip, but he's got a very healthy 65-point gap back to Rosanita. I don't, like, whilst it's a mathematical chance, I just don't see it happening, so we may see our AM champion crown tonight, perhaps.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly, incredibly tight between both of them, of course. We'll now move on to our Pro-Am Championship. We mentioned it, Tyler Sheaf, 50 points over Callan Hodgkinson at the moment, and then 90 points back to Ben Brook. So it's a very similar situation to the amateurs as it is for the Pro-Ams as well. Ben, again, he's an outside chance. If Sheafy and Hodgkinson have absolute mares tonight and he gets himself inside the top 10, he will be back within mathematical, or realistic mathematical chance, we'll say, of beating both of them for this title. But Sheafy, he's had a strong run this season, Hutto, and again, if he can continue getting these consistent finishes of top 15s and top 10s tonight, he is going to be one to look out for, because he could be holding up that championship if Callan and Ben have a worse night than him.
Yes, Hamish, like we touched on before, it would take something special for, I guess, Benjamin Brook to really overtake Hodgkinson and Sheaf, but I think Sheaf, he's almost got this wrapped up. He's, again, another driver who's been driving fantastically, well above the rest of their class. And to be honest, Callan Hodgkinson's been driving brilliantly as well. Unfortunately, he had to serve an enforced, I guess, points ban with the licensing system we have here at SRW. And I guess it'll go down as a what could have been for Callan, but he's also been driving fantastically. He's only 50 points off the beat. If he can make it up tonight, it would make for a very, very interesting round 9. I think it's just unfortunate how the season played out. It's still very exciting, but fantastic results for Tyler Sheaf.
Yeah, he's looking incredibly strong, and Velocity Racing team only gets stronger and stronger as the seasons go on. We'll then move on, obviously, to our Pro Championship at this stage, and it is incredibly tight up the top before the drop rounds. Darren Fahey leads the way by 33 points to Daniel Byrne. Then it's Scott Pocock, David Gallo, Marcus Knitska as the top 5. But looking at it with drop rounds, Knitska actually leads the championship at this stage, Hutto. So we could be on for quite a feisty end to this championship, because between all of them, it would be Knitska and then Gallo would be the top 2. Then we have Pocock and Fahey equal on points on 899, only 36 points behind Knitska and only 10 points behind Gallo. And then Daniel Byrne, who's on 863, is then a further 36 points back. So there's only 72 points in it. A poor round tonight could really change things up in Byrne's favour if he manages to get on the top step and those other 4 have a poor run.
We saw at Monza the order definitely change a little bit. We saw a few poor performances, a few okay performances, and it kind of just condensed those top 5 drivers. I think for the pros, it's a lot harder to make that gap back or to extend that gap, because these guys are going to be expected to be within the top 10. And tonight with the sprint round, with the heat, only 2 points difference between first and second and third, in intervals of 2, and in the feature race it's intervals of 3. So it's a lot harder to go and claw those points back. It's definitely easy to drop points if you don't perform, but for the guys that are chasing, it's a lot harder to go and chase that guy in front of you.
Well, we're getting into qualifying now, of course, that it could be quite important tonight, being that you can get passes done around here, of course, but it can be ever so challenging to maximise on a poor qualifying when you are a bit further back in the field. Of course, on your side of the screen, we have got Daniel Byrne at the moment, which I need to readjust that to actually see what you've done for us. Let me quickly just adjust that. But it's going to be tough tonight. I think there's passing opportunities, but you kind of almost have to force the door open for yourself for those opportunities to actually come true. You almost have to force it upon yourself to be able to do it and to actually be able to get those moves done when it matters most.
Yeah, Brand's Hatch is one of those interesting ones where there's a few pinch points where the drivers can probably stick their nose up the inside and just, force and go around too wide. But the back of the track really opens itself up to, not so much overtaking, but very much follow the leader through these very sweeping right-handers before you come back to the Indy part of the track. So it'll be interesting to see who can and cannot get the job done. There's only maybe 1 or 2 places where you could probably comfortably get a run on a driver and then make a move, but they both flow into very tight, quick right-handers, being turn 1 and I think possibly turn 6 or 7 down the back there. So it'll be interesting to see who's got the goods or got the bravery to make those decisions and get the passes done, and I'm looking forward to hopefully a nice clean race tonight.
Yeah, let's hope that we can get maximum offerings for us here tonight. We're going to have to work on getting that resized in between the sessions, I think, Hutto, so we can actually see what you've done. He has the name of the driver on his share screen, but unfortunately because of how it's cut, we can't see it. So we'll make adjustments, fine-tuning details to get this absolutely perfected. So you guys can follow who is on the second screen, of course. It is currently Daniel Byrne. That's slightly better. Maybe if we put it on the top screen, the top of the screen, Hutto, I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. You muck around with it. We'll get off the second screen for the moment. You have a bit of a play, and then we'll check it out a bit later in the piece as well. Danny Davidson, though, proving his pace once again. He was absolutely rapid last week, and there were comments about us making the fact that it wasn't the fact that they were battling, it's the fact he just had so much more pace over everyone that was why he won. I have a feeling, though, Hutto, that it was a little bit of both, because I think there's always some pace lost when there is battling. It didn't help with the fact, though, that he was just so much faster than the field last week at Monza.
Well, he proved it as soon as the the wet conditions came out. As soon as he was able to get those wet gumboots on and then get back to the track, he just moved his way through the field and then extended the lead and had a very, very comfortable win. And like he said, he came out with the intent of winning, which is, what we want to see. Drivers aim for that top step and nothing less. But yeah, I guess to an extent there may have been a little bit of battling, that slowing each other down, as we saw. I think it was the two Carlins guys and Scotty Pocock from Red Rocket Racing. I guess helping each other out or battling their way down the straights, but Danny Davison was just pulling away and no one could catch him, and then Danny came away with the chocolates.
Well, I just wanted to mention right now, I mean, we're early on here in qualifying, of course. The pace will get quicker as the session goes on, but Jason Depp currently situated right now, P3 in the session, when the times are counted to the literal thousandth. He has set the exact same lap as Darren Fahey, a 1:14.520. He is dropping a little bit rapidly, though, as some of those pros get some faster times in, but he is showing his pace early here. He did top the Pro-Ams in practice. And could be on for some much-needed points for himself. Even though he can't win the Pro-Am Championship this season, could be an opportunity to take points off competitors who are trying to beat his teammate, Tyler Sheaf.
I guess that's the beauty of having teammates out there, right? So I guess Velocity Racing Team are looking to take out the Pro-Am and the Am Championship this season, which I'm not sure we've seen before. Actually, I think we may have seen, was actually Velocity Sim Racing Team, perhaps. I know Sam Katakazinos took out the Pro-Ams last season, and the Am Club, no, that was Schmalenberg with JWM Simsport. However, I don't think we've seen many teams actually clinch 2 titles within one season, so it could be a historic first for, I guess, here at Sim Racing World. But yes, I think having that teammate definitely pays dividends, whether it's helping your teammate go for that championship, or even yourself heading for the Australian Open Wheel Nationals at the end of the season.
Yeah, of course, we'll run through those points, obviously, in between race 1 and race 2. A couple of interesting drivers on the bubble at the moment, and a couple others who are locked in at this stage. I think, we mentioned that Sheafy has almost locked himself into that Pro-Am Championship. You'd have to argue at this point, if he doesn't miss next week, he is locked into that top 20, and he will have made his goal of making the Australian Open Wheel Championship for the week after the end of the season against GSRC, and being able to represent SRW, where he has raced for so long across 2 separate teams.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Hamish. And actually, on top of that, there's 4 drivers that have actually already, I guess, qualified or are eligible for the Australian Open Wheel Nationals at the end of the season. That being David Gallo, Darren Fay, Scott Pocock, and Daniel Byrne. They have enough points mathematically, even if they were to say have a 0 score tonight, which is not likely. But yeah, they'll have enough points to take themselves well into the top 20 by the end of the season. And I guess we're looking at 21st position and 22nd. They just, mathematically they'd have to have a win, or they win both the races and have the fastest lap of the race. So yeah, congratulations to those 4.
Well, we'll be looking forward to seeing how they go in that race, of course. At the end of the season, it'll be myself and a GSRC representative in the booth that night to call the action for that race as well. There's even talks of maybe getting you in there, Hutto. We're not 100% sure yet. We're waiting to finalise those details for that event, but it will be SRW versus GSRC. I'll be in there representing the SRW boys, flying the flag for them as they fly the flag for the league in the race, cheering them on. And doing my best to keep as impartial as possible, of course, but obviously cheering on our SRW representatives who have just been growing season after season, Hutto, and have been going levels above every single race of every single season to get better and better and to bring their A game into this league.
I'm very, very excited for it. I think at the start of the season, I was excited at the start of the season. But now we're only like 2 weeks away. Now I'm very, very excited. And for me, who loves the stats, the numbers, and watching, drivers, go up the leaderboard and down the ladder, it brings another sense of excitement, another level of excitement to this series. And I think even just league racing itself, and like you said, the drivers have improved. Whether they've been putting in the hard yards, in separate sessions, or just been doing test drive sessions by themselves, being able to race week in, week out with the same group of people just improves your driving like tenfold. I can't, I guess, express the importance of league racing and how I think vital it is for the increase of the skill level across the whole iRacing service.
Well, it'll be a first time ever for two separate leagues to race against each other under the one banner. Obviously, there's crossover of drivers across different leagues, where you look at supercars with Vets, Scops, SRW, East Coast. You look at us with the Super Formulas and the GSRC with the Super Formulas as well, or even other leagues out there like AOG with Porsche Cup. There's often been driver crossovers, but I don't think there's ever been a league special event where it has been league versus league in a winner-takes-all contest like that, and it's absolutely awesome and incredible to be a part of. But what a massive way to sink our teeth into something at the end of Season 3, leading into Season 4, and some of the track choices that we've spoken about in behind closed doors, all of them incredibly tasty. Whichever one gets selected, incredibly tasty options for what could make an incredible race on our screens on both the SRW channel and the GSRC channel as well.
It is definitely going to be a very special event for both leagues, but I guess it's also a bit of a landmark moment for sim racing in Australia. Like you said, we haven't seen that cross-league sort of race, and it was a fantastic concept that was floated by one of our drivers in the session, Doug Gowans, and I guess his focus or his intent was to give the guys at a grassroots level just that something else. Like we touch on, say, the Logitech Pro Series, like the V8s, they have that extra level or that extra league where the best of the best come to do their thing. But there was nothing really at the grassroots level, and I'm very, very excited for what's going to occur in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully it goes very, very well. We'll have to wait and see. But in the meantime, we've got a very important race coming up in front of us.
We do, mate, we do. We are 12 minutes into this qualifying session. At the moment, Dylan Tabono sits provisional pole position with a 1:13.83. Danny Davidson now sits P2 with David Gallo making up the provisional top 3. Daniel Byrne, Scott Pocock make up the top 5. Ben Brooks sits P6. P1 for the Pro-Ams at the moment. Then it's Konitska, Gowans and Fahey. And then Depp makes up the top 10. Tesseriero, well, what a qualifying this could be from him. P11 on the road at the moment. And crucially, if we look back to where Callum Rossonita is, he's not even on the timing tower. He has not set a lap thus far in qualifying, Hutto. And that's going to be a massive chunk of points if Rossonita cannot make up the positions needed to get ahead of Tesseriero. I think we are almost guaranteed to lock that out for Matt if he can consolidate that position across the 2 races, and Callum can't get anywhere because it's just going to be so. He has to beat him, and pretty much their positions need to be swapped if he hopes to really put the challenge into Matt for this championship. So it's going to be an interesting test for him here tonight. We've then got Benici, Sheafy's then P13 if we look for his nearest competitor in the championship, Callan Hodgkinson. He also has not set a time yet. So both those predicted champions of Velocity Racing Team are looking good to lock this out here tonight before the final round next week out at Aragon. Got a heap of chats out there already here. Hutto, of course, we've got Steph Piccoli out there as well as Phil Vella and Sean Benici. Phil saying, yeah, bummed I'm missing the Australian Open Wheel National Championship. Phil, you have no idea how heartbroken we are, because if you were out there, I feel like SRW would almost be guaranteed the win.
Oh, that's a big call, Hamish.
Phil's very quick. He's very quick.
He's a very good driver. However, he hasn't won every race he's participated in, so, But, yes, it is a shame that Villa can't be out there representing SRW and the rest of the team. But the team we're going to be taking it's very, very strong.
Very good.
I'm quietly confident, yes. I'm quietly confident we are going to do very well. Whether we get the win or not is a different story. But I'm quietly confident that even down to like 28th place, there are still guys who are very, very quick racers. And I guess the benefit of, not being quick, but in terms of actually participating week in, week out, it just puts you so much further up the ladder. And it's actually no surprise that some of the guys that have, turned up week in, week out are actually well within that top 20.
So just quickly, Hutto, we've just seen, so number one, Jace Douglas has been given a pit lane start for impeding in qualifying. Another thing, due to license points, Callum Rosanita has a rear of grid.
That is not ideal for the championship.
What it means now is Matt, literally, as we said, just has to consolidate his position and try and stay around about that P11 on the road, and he should lock this thing out at this point.
Well, throughout the race or throughout the round, I'll try and do some quick mathematics for us, Hamish, because the magic number is 186. So that is a full round win plus the fastest lap plus 1 to get over the top. And I guess if Tesoriero can get over that 186 mark back to Callum Rosanita, then the championship is his.
So they're currently, that's also after drop rounds though.
After
So
the
mathematics will also have to get counted with the drop round points as well. Oh, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And as well, you have to also figure out if Callum's actually missed a round, because if he hasn't missed a round and he finishes at the back, this may be his drop round. Or if he has missed a round, that's obviously his drop round. So, oh, it's going to be a tough task. Going to be a tough task for both of them. We'll see if we can get it all figured out before the end of the broadcast here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Starting grid, though, for race number 1 of round 8 of season 3 of 2024 will be Danny Davidson starting on pole position, backing up his performances out at Monza last week. This is going to be a massive run home for him if he can consolidate. Dylan DeBono will start alongside him in his return to the series. On the front row of the grid, David Gallo, Daniel Byrne, the Carlins Motorsport boys will then make up row number 2, with Scott Pocock and Ben Brooks starting in behind them. Jason Depp, Marcus Knitz going to make up the 4th row, with Doug Gowans and Darren Fahey making up the top 10. Matt Gerard and Sam Katakazinos, Velocity Simlabs, just missing out on the top 10. They'll start P11 and P12 alongside each other on the grid. Matt Tesoriero, Sean Benici then starting behind with Nathan Fernie and Tyler Sheaf. Andrew Cowan and Timothy Schmalenberg to make up the top 18, with Shane Ratcliffe and Jamie Davis in behind them. Andrew Rushworth will start P21. He would have started alongside Jason Douglas, but he has been given the pit lane start for impeding during qualifying. Nick Schmalenberg and Mark Cochran will then start in behind them as we then move back to Greg Johnson and Jack Anderson. Johnny Rowe, Kevin Wakefield, Jordan Ferguson and Martin Lipsky will make up the top 30. Callum Rosanita will have a rear of grid start for licence points. He'll start around Mitch Noble, Josh King, and Stephanie Piccoli, and Callan Hodgkinson has not made the grid at this point in time, Hutto. Big implications for the Pro-Am Championship if he does not make this race start.
Yeah, I guess that's another name that we expected to be on the grid. Unsure why Callan can't make it right now. He's probably, I don't know, running to the rig hopefully right now. But look, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But does that mean that, I guess, Velocity Racing Team are going to clinch 2 championships in one evening?
It is going to be one hell of a story if they can get it done here tonight. All we await for is majority of the grid to get onto grid here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and we will then go racing for the final droppable round of the season. We've got 30 until lights are up. David Gallo, Darren Fahey, Sheafy, Douglas Ferguson and Hodgkinson yet to join the grid. Oh, this is going to be tight, although Douglas has to start from the pit lane, of course, so he will not join grid. Cam Harwick in the chat. Good luck, Velocity Simlab boys. Great to have you out there with us, Cam. Phil saying, yeah, a lot of fast cars out there. I don't have that level of confidence, Hamish, but I appreciate the faith. I've got a lot of faith in you, Phil. Don't you worry about that. I've seen what you can do in these cars. Lights are going to go up, though. Anderson and Ferguson are starting from the lane. Hodgkinson has not gridded up, as Douglas also looks to start from the lane as well. We are go for Brands Hatch and round number 8. Race number 1 here tonight. It was a good start from the majority of the field up towards turn 1 as Davison leads DeBono and Gallo and Bernard Pocock around for the very first time. But we need to be careful of turn 2 shenanigans and anyone trying to take a little bit too much space on this opening lap, Hutto.
Yeah, we just see the drivers, I guess, making their way through turns 1, 2 and 3. It seems to be pretty single file at the moment, not too much movement up and down, but like we've said, every single week we seem to have a half-decent start and then calamity unfolds about a lap or 2 later.
Yeah, calamity is probably the best word we could describe it as King and Piccoli have had a moment in the background. Piccoli's gone into the wall, it seems. We will come back and check out that replay at the end of lap number 1 as Davison leads them through the roller coaster section at the top end of the circuit and up towards the final sector of this beautiful Brands Hatch circuit. And I must say, Brands Hatch, one of my personal fave British circuits. Definitely prefer it over Silverstone, but I understand why F1 does not race here, because it is a little bit too short for the amount of pace that those cars have nowadays.
I wonder, is it a Type 1 rated track or a Form 1 rated track? I'm sure of that. But yeah, Brands Hatch is actually one of the first tracks I started racing on back when I raced my V8 supercars on the PlayStation 2. A little bit of a soft spot in my heart. But yes, it's definitely a lot harder than what it was back on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how much different the scans have gotten over the years, and as they've gotten more and more accurate. Here was Josh King's off track down at turn 4, massively running it wide. Oh, so did Piccoli, so that was why she had a crash. Okay, so she did not hit the wall. She rejoined the track, and then what's happened to her after the fact? Because it does seem...
Matty Gerard's just called out for race control, so I don't know what's going on there.
So we'll get on to
safety
that one
car
as
has
well.
been called.
Oh, very interesting. So that was Piccoli's. And Cowie and Piccoli had another one. This was Gerard's moment. And it seems to have happened down at turn 3 or 4, Hutto.
Just a little bit too wide on the grass there and put it into the fence. That's unfortunate for Matty Gerard, who's actually trying to chase getting into the top 20 and make the Australian Open Wheel Nationals.
Hey, he did well to park it there, actually. That was a good parking job by him.
Just waiting for a mate.
Yeah, pretty much. Just waiting for a mate at that point. So the safety car has been called early in this race. We didn't really give safety car predictions here tonight, Hutto, but are we that surprised that we've gotten one? I feel like this track almost always has a safety car about it. Even though it's wide and open, it's fast-paced, it's high energy. And I don't know, there's just some corners that you're very, very easy to end up in the wall and with a broken car, especially in a super formula.
Well, that corner where Gerard just went a little bit wide, you can actually take a lot of liberties putting all 4 wheels outside of the red and white ripple strip there. So I guess taking that, or just going that little bit extra wider has just not really worked, or has not worked out for him at all. But yes, this track is just lined by grass. It is super slippery everywhere, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see 1 or 2 more cars bring out the safety car just by dropping a wheel in the grass.
Yeah, it's almost like there. So you kind of have this almost cricket pitch type surface on the exit of that curb, and it was almost like he went that little bit too far and caught the actual long grass, and that's what actually spun him round. At least that's what it looked like in my eyes there for him. Possibly, maybe. Very easy to do there, though. Because, again, as you mentioned, you are naturally running that wider line. It's a 15th over the line of the limit, and that's what's caused him to lose control and end up in the wall. He did nearly catch it, but I think the fact that he caught more grass as he tried to catch it, that's what then actually sent him across the road and into the wall. Very lucky, though, not to hit another car whilst that was happening. So he was very, very lucky on that front, and he held his brakes, which is a good thing as well.
That's what we can hope for. There was no more damage done to the rest of the field. So, unfortunate for Gerard, but he'll come back in race 2 and try and make amends and make a few more points on his way to the top 20.
So the big news right now, Hutto, is Callan Hodgkinson has not made the start of this race, which means he will not be obtaining any points in this one.
If he doesn't join, does he still turn 1 more lap as we get underway?
Davison, though, that was a ripping start from him. Is he allowed, though, to join the grid as of this point in the race? I don't know if he would be.
I'm unsure of the rule book, to be honest, but I guess if he went back into the pits and asked for race control if you could turn a lap, because here at SRW, all you need to do is, like you said, complete 1 lap and you're eligible for points. So whether Callan jumps on and does that, I'm unsure. Whether race control lets him go out and to complete that 1 lap, still unsure. However, we'll leave that in the hands of race control, and right now we need to look back at the front of the pack.
Yeah, the battles are starting to heat up. We just had before Timothy Schmalenberg passing Sean Benici in amongst the Pro-Am field, of course. Tyler Sheaf, current championship leader, sits 14th on the road, a total 23 positions up from his next championship rival, Callan Hodgkinson, which if you do some quick maths, he would be earning, what would be 46 points over Hodgkinson right now? 23 times 2, wouldn't it? Because 2 points between every... Actually, no, because he's
no, it
currently
tapers
got
off
0.
towards the end.
Yeah, and he's got 0 points at the moment because he's not actually finished. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, the points that Tyler Sheaf gets, so it's at 14th. I'll get back to you on that one. But yes, could be a swagger of points and big differential for Tyler Sheaf.
Oh, this could be a massive moment in his championship hunt this season, ladies and gentlemen. Ben Brook is just up the road from him, so he wouldn't be gaining as many on him as he would be on Hodgkinson at this stage. So that's the caveat in that situation. But it might be enough that it does actually help him in that case. At this stage, though, Danny Davison leads the way to Dylan DeBono, David Gallo, Daniel Burns, Scott Pocock, Marcus Knitska for the top 6, all of them being pros. We then have the top 2 in the Pro-Ams, Jason Depp, Ben Brook, then Fahey, who you're currently focused on at the moment here, Hutto. Katakazinos makes up the top 10 with Gowans. Amateur leader Matt Tessariero, Vernie, Sheaf, and Schmalenberg making up the top 15 at this stage in time. And, well, we are looking to... in this championship with some wild moments happening, because could we go into the final round for the first time ever with the amateur and pro-ams locked out? Could that occur here tonight? I mean, we've mentioned it could. It's looking quite favourable at the moment.
It's probable, whilst it's not impossible, because, you know, mathematics doesn't lie, right? But I think it would take an absolute miracle for results to go certain drivers' ways for that to stop happening, to be honest, Hamish.
Well, one thing I've just noticed on track is Matt Gerard is back out there, a lap down just about on the leader, Danny Davidson. Now, Danny Davidson may see himself, if Gerard doesn't let him past, although he is letting him past, could have found himself quite frustrated there, because if Gerard actually held him up under blue flags, guess who's right behind Davidson? Matt's teammate, Dylan DeBono, at this stage in time. So that could have actually helped him out at that point in time. But he has just let them go. He hasn't played a part in the win of this race at this point. He'll now look to head on. He'll hope for another safety car to get his lap back. But it is a real shame there for Matty Gerard to end up at the back of the field so early on here in this sprint race of 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think you just touched on, you know, Matthew Gerard and Dylan DeBono being teammates. I think Danny and Dylan themselves are more or less not so much racing for the championship or that pro championship, but racing for pride. And like you saw Danny Davison's determination come out last week. He's like, I wanted to win and I won. And like, you know, a fantastic job to him there. And I think Dylan will be. Oh, there's a car just spun around in the pits, as I just call that. But
that might have been. That was Cowie possibly. He answered pit lane.
Yeah, Dylan's still got a little bit of ground to make up. So he currently sits down in, where are we? He's down in 24th position. So he's not out of the running just yet, because there are already, I know, a few drivers that are unavailable, unfortunately, for the Australian Open Wheel Nationals. I guess that, you know, elevates him up a position or two. But Dylan will be wanting to finish off the season, you know, with a victory or two under his belt.
Oh, you there, Hutto?
Yeah, still here.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
it was... No, you're right. I believe it was Ferguson, yeah, it was, who was spun round at the pit entry, so that was who that was. Let me just quickly find what happened to him. So I believe this will be it right here, why he ended up spun round. Oh, just clipped some grass, and then I found him parked up and in the wall, but he was given permission to tow back to pits, luckily for him. So that was the reason why he was there.
Tell you what, this track's not really lending itself to many overtakes. We thought there might be one or two positions, but I wonder if the driver's just finding there's that block. As soon as you pull out past a driver, just that aero block just appears in front of them. So interesting conditions for the drivers out there.
Yeah, I think...
As I say that right now, Dougie goes past... Oh no, I think it's past his teammate, actually.
I think arguably the best overtaking opportunities at this track is if you're close enough to get it done. It's the little tight left-hander before you come back onto the sort of main straight section. Even down where Rossinida's coming through now at turn 3, off the exit of that, if you can get the run, you can almost tuck yourself up the inside for turn 4. Very difficult to do so, but it can be done. It may be more... I think we may get more happening in race 2 tonight, Hunter, because it might be more strategy-based than anything. But I think it also comes down to how much more pace have you actually got over your competitors. If it's a minute amount, it is going to be harder for you to get the overtakes done, where if you're in, say, Davison or De Bono's case, it might be a bit easier for you to get those moves done because you can hound the back of the other cars.
I think that's the beauty of being able to have, I guess, a heat race and a feature race, Hamish. The fact that the guys can go out there, race for 20 minutes, get a good feel for the track and how it's actually going to play out into that feature race. And they can start formulating a bit of a strategy going into that feature race and how they're going to attack it, where their closest rivals are, how they can make their way back up the pack, as opposed to just kind of out and out pace. Because it doesn't seem, like we said, there's not many opportunities or not many overtakes happening out there. So I wonder if we'll see anyone come in early, grab a heap of juice in the car and just go hell for leather towards the end of the race.
Yeah, that might be the best option. I mean, it's really going to depend on those fuel numbers, on how much they can see themselves getting the improvements happening. It's going to be incredibly interesting how this all works out for everyone out on track. Let us know in the chat though who you think is going to benefit the most from Brands Hatchie tonight. Right now, it is looking like Danny Davidson's to win. He has got the pace over the field, but De Bono is able to stick with him. But it could be a tough task ahead if he has to try and make his way through up towards the top end of town once he starts at the back end of the top 10 for race 2.
Well, the thing is, we need to keep an eye on the top 5 of the pros. So that's Knitska, Gallo, Fay, Pocock and Byrne. And they're all sitting within the top 8. You know, Fay's still got a very nice little cushion back to P2 as well. If he's on 1,013 points back to, Daniel Byrne on 980. So there's still a little bit of a buffer there, and then you take away a few points of the drop rounds, this, that and the other. But our top 5 drivers are still within that top 10 bracket. So it's definitely not over for these drivers that, again, we've talked about it. Something drastic would have to happen to one of these drivers for someone to really tumble out or make a big gap up on the drivers in front of them. But right now, I guess they're just getting a feel for the track and feeling each other out, and then hopefully we'll see a bit more action in the feature race and race 2.
At the moment, Jason Depp leads the way for the Pro-Ams at this stage. He is in amongst the top 10, and he is in a nice tight battle here with Marcus Knitska for the top 6 positions on track. We currently have the classes separated, so you can actually see the difference in positions for these drivers. So of course, inside the top 10, there is 8 pro drivers, and then it is Knitska, Katakazina, and Douglas, who are a bit further back, although Katakazina is on the bubble of the top 10. For the Pro-Ams, it's Depp and Brook who are inside the 10. Then you've got Vernie, Schmalenberg, Sheaf, Benici. That's the top 6 for the Pro-Ams. For the Amateurs, Tesseriero, P12 on the road, and then Noble and Schmalenberg for 17th and 18th. Rosanita P22, Lipsky and Wakefield for 24th and 27th for that top 6 at this stage in time. So these guys fighting it out hard for the minors of the Amateurs and the Pro-Ams, as well as the pros up there inside the top 10 as well. So going to be some big points on offer here tonight. We're on board with Mark Cochran at the moment here, Hutto, on your screen. Who's he currently battling with? Is it Mr. Shane Ratcliffe? It is indeed. So this could be a tightening pack and a good little battle for them looking ahead towards the end of this race, because I know that Shane sometimes struggles a little bit with his racecraft. Mark struggled with that a little bit too, though he was super consistent last season. This could be a nice, tight little battle for them if Mark can keep it on the track.
Wide. Oh, can he hang on to it? Oh, who's coming up?
Oh, that's Rosanita, who's just gotten past him. This is a free position for him. So does Jace Douglas. Oh my God, these guys need to be so careful right now approaching him. He does the right thing, moves the car over slightly, does the flick spin. Oh no, he is parked right on the apex, so he's very lucky that Johnny Rowe was a bit further back down the field. That's a big loss there for Mark Cochran and a massive points loss. I was just going to mention, he could have been on for a great battle there with Shane, but unfortunately he just took too many liberties when cutting the corner, which then forced him out wide.
We said that if the drivers just take a little bit too much grass, well, there's plenty of grass on the sides, if they just take a little bit too much, like you said, liberties off track, it's, just going to cause all sorts of havoc. But one thing I have noticed, and I think we touched it again, I think every time I move the camera across to someone who looks like they're in a battle, all of a sudden they're, you know, half a second back. So drivers finding it very tough out there to actually make a move and get it done cleanly.
Oh, Mark Neely just absolutely holding up Greg there through that corner. That was super, super tight for them. The battle you're focusing on at the moment, though, we've got Vernie and then Tessariero, and then Schmalenberg and Sheaf and Benici as well. This is probably our closest battle on track at this stage in time, Hutto.
Schmalenberg, see if he can get this past Tessariero.
May even try and hold him up to help Sheafy get past. We're not sure. I mean, they are in the same channel. They'll be talking through some strategies, if that's what their plan is going to be. They've got 3.5 minutes to get it done as Schmalenberg runs it way wide and into the wall. So that's a couple of spots dropped there for the JWM driver. He drops down below Benici and Sheaf. The car still looks straight, though, which is good. Unfortunately, though, that's going to take him out of contention for that battle.
Yeah, I think he might have taken a bit of damage there. He just pulls off to the side and lets Noble through. So, yeah, Timothy will be ruining that one as he had a bit of a good run and
that back
was
wheel.
doing quite well.
Sorry, that back wheel on the side that hit the wall on the left-hand side of the car, that back wheel's not on properly. You can see it. It's on an angle at the moment. So if we go left rear, Hutto, on your screen, you'll actually see it. You'll be able to see that tyre. As Jason Depp just quickly has had a crash out of the lead of the Pro-Ams. So he's now dropped out of the lead as well. Brooks come past, so has Vernie. He has to let his teammate Sheaf past as well. So Jason Depp, off the back of that, has now dropped a heap of spots as well. They're starting to lose their cool here, Hutto. Oh my God.
I don't think it's a terribly warm track out there this evening, but perhaps the tyres are taking a bit of degradation. It is, like we said, a fast-flowing track. So
a bit too much curb once again.
Yeah, I wonder if the tyres are starting to play a bit of their part in this race now.
They could quite possibly be, which begs the question then for race 2. They don't normally take tyres, Hutto. Do they take tyres on this occasion?
Oh, I guess I still think the conditions are slightly a bit cool. I don't think the pros will take those tyres. We might see 1 or 2 AMs take the tyres because, let's be honest, the drivers out there tonight, you only get like 2 or 3 seconds other than the longer straights before you're turning once again. And because those high-speed corners really load up the outside tyre, so I think the front left will actually be copying a bit of a flogging tonight.
Yeah, it is. It's more. I don't know. I feel like the first sector especially puts more load on the right. And then once you get into sort of the second sector and in towards the third, that's when the real pressure gets put on the left-hand side of the car. But, oh, you can see Byrne, though. Oh, my God, he nearly put it in the sand. That would help Pocock and Knitska substantially if they managed to get it past him here. Fahey's not having a good night, though, Hutto, of course. He was leading the championship before drop rounds before last week. And had an absolute mare. Tonight, though, P7 would be a good chunk of points for him here in race number 1, but he is a bit far off the pace and far off the back of the top 6 at this stage.
Yeah, I think Faye will just be going through the motions of trying to just, settle down, get a good position for the second race. Not forget, it's an inverted top 10 as well, so he'll be starting out of P4 as it stands. And I guess he'll hopefully look to skip away in front of the slightly quicker guys, as we've seen. And, just get a nice cache of points in race number 2.
Well, as we come up towards the line, it should be white flag this lap by for Danny Davidson and Dylan DeBono. They've got 10 seconds to cross the line here. They're going to do it with ample time. We're going to go 17 or 16 laps in this race here tonight, Hutto. So your prediction of 17 was slightly off because of the safety car.
Oh, who's that spun around? Oh, gee, that was tight.
Who was it? Was it Anderson? Sure, I think it might have been Anderson. Had a slight spin.
Yeah, Jack Anderson, I think, was just facing the wrong way. Oh, he's just drifted wide. Oh, that snap.
I think he's deliberately put it out of the way of Schmalenberg to make sure he doesn't hit him on that point. Yeah. Because it looked like it wanted to come to the right, and he's deliberately snapped it left to get out of Schmalenberg's way to not take him out, which fair play to him for having the wherewithal to do that and the track awareness to do that as well. At this stage, I mean, Davison, he's led every single lap thus far, Hutto. He's got the fastest lap of the race at the moment as well. So he'll be taking maximum points at this point in time for race number 1. It's not going to help him in the championship too much, but it is going to be good for bragging rights to win 2 weeks in a row.
Yes, 2 victories on the trot. We'll see if he'll be able to do it from P10 starting next race. But I think Danny Davis will be very happy to get another win under his belt.
This is going to be very spicy for race number 2, but Danny Davidson takes the win in race number 1 to Dylan Tabono in P2. David Gallo makes up the top 3 for Carlin's Motorsport. Daniel Burney's teammate will come home P4 with Scotty Pocock in P5 here tonight. It's then Kanitska, Fahey, Gowans, Katakazinos, and Ben Brook, who finishes out of P10, will start on pole position of race number 2. It's another Pro-Am pole sitter here, Hutto, for race 2. So this is going to be incredibly interesting. It was then Vernie. Tessariero gets some solid points over Rosanita, who was 9 positions back. So that is 18 points. Tessariero gains over Rosanita. Tyler Sheaf came home P15 on the road, Tessariero's teammate. Hodgkinson never got started, so Sheaf will take the points for P15 on the road. Do we know off the top of our heads, Hutto, what exactly that is?
I'll have to double check. I'm not that quick with the mathematics.
That's all good.
As I'm just writing down in my notes a few little things, but
that's all good.
Yeah, give me a minute or two, and I'll get back to you.
No worries at all. That is all fine and dandy as this race has come to an end. But we have still got our next race to come after a 5-minute warm-up session for these drivers. Of course, in that time, we will run through our bubble and talk about who has the opportunity to get inside. Oh, that is way too oversized. Let me fix that. Way too big. Why did that upsize? I don't know why. So on the bubble at this stage in time, we have got P16 Tessariero, then Jason Depp, his teammate from Velocity Racing Team, Sam Katakazinos of Velocity Sim Labs. Good chunk of points for him here tonight, Hutto. That will well and truly put him in amongst the bubble. Schmalenberg and Donahoe makes up the top 20. Barton, who hasn't raced, Rosanita got a good chunk of points, so he should actually jump both Donahoe and Barton to get inside the top 20. Gerard, who finished further back. De Bono probably did enough to get inside the top 20 off the back of that race as well. Bradley, Rushworth, and Noble. So this is going to be an incredibly tight bubble. I think not only after race 1, but even after race 2 tonight as well, because if these guys continue these consistent finishes, those point differentials are only going to come down more and more as we go on, and especially because 2 of those drivers have copped a donut here in race 1, and they haven't shown up tonight, so they're definitely copping one for race 2, which means that you'd have to say that Rosanita and you'd have to say De Bono more so than Gerard have made it into that top 20 now.
Yeah, and I guess that's their intent. They'd have to come out and just chip away and get a few points just to get over the line. They don't need to be well within, but it need to be like there or abouts. 18th is probably a comfortable position to be going into the final round. With that amount of points, and like I've touched on, there's a few drivers that are unavailable. I think 2 are within the top 20. There's a couple that are well without or not in reach of making that top 20. So everyone that's kind of sitting, between 22nd to 25th, 26th is still definitely well within their, within that top 20 reach.
Yeah, well, who was it that said they wouldn't be available for that race?
So, I guess Phil Vella's already out because he's got a busted leg. I don't think Jay Dixon's still gallivanting across Europe as he was at Monza on the weekend.
Yeah, just showing off to us, being at the real life event then instead of being at the Shadow Series round.
I got word today that I think Timothy Schmalenberg is actually unavailable for the Australian Open Wheel Nationals as well. So that's 3 drivers I can name straight away. And I'm sure there may be 1 or 2 others, and I'm sure we'll probably have someone pull out. So I guess an encouragement to those guys who are still just outside is keep going, because you never know your luck. You might just sneak in. You might be that 23rd competitor, and that's all you need to make the top 20, and you'll be racing against GSRC in 2 weeks' time.
Is Vella still inside the top 20 actually for the championship?
Sure is. I guess that graphic you displayed just before, Vella's actually P15. So Vella's done an incredible job over the first, I think it was only 5 rounds. He raced at Mosport and that was it. Over the first 5 rounds to accumulate all those points and is still deep inside the top 20. I think it'd actually be quite a novelty if Vella still managed to qualify for the top 20 at season's end, but I think, yeah, the amount of points that the driver's going to be getting over the next 2 rounds, including the drops, may actually see Vella drop out mathematically anyway.
So the big one that would probably be losing in amongst that top 20 at the moment is Callan Hodgkinson. P9 on the road, takes a 0 here in this race, with Sheafy taking whatever points were available for P15. Oh, that's a big drop for Hodgkinson.
Yeah, that's definitely put a huge dent in his championship, and Hodgkinson still had a drop round as well. So even despite missing round 1 due to a license point suspension, he still had a drop round to get rid of. So it really does not help his championship at all tonight. So I mean,
we could do the quick maths right now. So what is it for a win? Regardless of fastest lap, so just the base points for a win.
120. It'd have to be 120 points. So I'm staring at I'll get a bit of paper right now. Tyler Sheaf is 104 points in front of Callan Hodgkinson. So
pretty much Sheafy just has to finish this race, and Callan just has to not show up.
If Sheafy can get 81 more points out of this race, I think he may have won the championship. But look, we've still got 40 more minutes of trials and tribulations to see how it all pans out, and yeah, we'll see what
the only reason I ask Hutto is I want to be able to say with confidence in the race if he's won it or not, and I don't want to be proven wrong off the back of it.
Yeah, we never want to announce something like, you're the winner. Oh, yeah.
By the way, no, you actually have to race next week to get it.
Next week, yeah. Oh, who did we see? I think it was Matty Jones way back when. I think it was like season 3 in 2022. Matty Jones won a handful of races, couldn't race in that final round, and he'd already wrapped it up by that stage. And I think we had to readjust tracks, and Matty Jones was like, let's race at Bathurst. It was an absolute nightmare of a race. Matty Jones, he'd already won the championship. Do you think he turned up? Nah, he just watched the carnage on telly. So, yeah, that was a bit of a humorous moment for us.
A classic moment indeed. But getting into race 2 here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this will be how they start out on the road with the reverse top 10 for the feature race. It will be Ben Brooks starting on pole position ahead of Sam Katakazinos in P2. Doug Gowns and Darren Fahey will then make up the second row of the grid. They'll start ahead of Marcus Ganitska, making up the top 5, who'll line up on the third row alongside Scotty Pocock. Daniel Byrne, David Gallo, Dylan Tabono and Danny Davidson then make up the top 10, with everyone else in behind them. Starting how they finished in race number 1, being Nathan Verney, Matt Tessariero, Sean Benici, Mitch Noble and Tyler Sheaf make up the top 15. We then have Jason Depp alongside with Nick Schmalenberg, Andrew Rushworth, I apologise. Shane Ratcliffe, Jason Douglas makes up the top 20 with Callum Rosanita, Jamie Davis, Martin Lipsky and Kevin Wakefield making up the top 24 with Timothy Schmalenberg, Josh King, Greg Johnston, Johnny Rowe, Mark Cochran, Matthew Gerard making up the top 30, Jack Anderson, Stephanie Piccoli, Andrew Cow and Jordan Ferguson making up the rest of the grid, with Callan Hodgkinson on the grid for race number 2 here, Hutto. So all of a sudden, it's gotten very, very interesting.
Well, like we said just before, there's still a 105-point buffer between Tyler Sheaf and Callan. So can Callan, I guess, make amends for missing race 1 and get a swagger of points? We can only hope so. So, makes round 9 even more interesting. But look, I think this is Sheafy's race to go out and just get some points on the board and pretty much wrap up the series.
Yeah, he just has to basically get enough that if he were to get last place next week, he would still win the title. Pretty much just show up and do a lap, and he's won the title at that point. Is he going to gain 81 points over Hodgkinson? I don't think that's possible, being the fact that we don't have 40 drivers here tonight.
Well, that's the thing. So if you finish first, and that's 120 points, you have to finish 28th to get. That's an 80-point difference.
Oh, okay.
28 points, getting 40 points. So, look, a 27-point swing. Let's say there's going to be 27 positions between those two. Will we see Sheafy come first? Don't know yet. will we see Callan Hodgkinson finish 28th or 27th? I think he's better than that as well. So, look, it's still up the air. Mathematically, still possible, not probable.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see in this race. Best case scenario for Sheafy, Callan finishes last and he finishes P10. But we're going to see and get all the answers, all the questions answered here in race number 2 as lights go up for the end of round number 8. And we are go with Ben Brook starting off the line. Catacasinos, though, absolutely rockets into the lead alongside. 2 wide into turn 1 between them right now as they come down towards turn number 2. It's an absolute scramble for the lead as Catacasinos takes it round the outside at turn 2. We got Fahey, Pocock, Gowans, Kanitska. There's been an absolute murder in the back end of Jason Depp and others as well. It's an absolute pile up off the exit of turn 2.
Oh, that's bad. That is bad. That's turning into a car park. That's going to be a safety car.
It's got to be. It's got to be one. It's got to be one. But the driver that this has helped the most right now is Callan Hodgkinson, who has somehow avoided all the carnage off the race start here and has managed to get up into P23 on the road. Who else has it helped? Callum Rossonita, who's now P17, 4 spots back off of Matt Tesseriero in P14 at the moment. So all of a sudden, the championships are wide open once again.
Yeah, all the main players we were just talking about in the break still alive, still pointing forward, and with, I guess, their car still in good shape. So everything to play for these next 40 minutes.
Well, we're just waiting for the confirmation of the safety car, of course, but it was a massive moment off this race start, which I do believe the safety car is now out on track. It is indeed. So the Warren & Brown Tools safety car out there, piloted by Stefan McCartan here tonight. We'll pick up the leader, Sam Catacasinos, off the end of this. That was a massive moment, though. Absolutely massive off this race start. Let's quickly just find the cause of it here. And I feel like it might have been this with Jason Depp having an off track. Also, Noble had already had a bit of contact there, it seems.
Oh. So there's a huge pilot further on. Here we go.
Yeah,
Noble goes off wide.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I think Kevin Wake. Oh, there's a lot of drivers caught up in that one.
We need to try and unpack this one as best as we can, but I don't know if we're going to have an opportunity to. So there was Noble. He had a massive lockup. Here comes Depp. There was Davis. Caught the wheel of him there. And then as they come around, Noble's in the wall. Rushworth gets absolutely collected. Sheafy was incredibly lucky not to get caught up in that himself. Ferguson was involved. So was Depp. I believe Anderson made it through unscathed. Man, oh man. So many cars involved in that moment right there. Unbelievable. And it's like we were waiting for it to happen in race 1, and as soon as it happens in race 2, it's all hell's broken loose.
Well, it just gives me flashbacks to was it Montreal?
Yeah.
I think it was one of our final races for one of those seasons. It was not pretty.
But what a crescendo that was to end out the season. I love Montreal. If I could personally pick a track to have at the Open Wheel Nationals, it would be Montreal, just because of the chaos it brings. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how everything pans out, where everyone's going to situate. Oh my God, what a way to start this race, Hutto. What a way to start it. Safety car on the board. We're up to 2 now in this race. And they've both come from early incidents in both the races here tonight.
Well, as we saw, we might see an exact replay of race 1 where now all the drivers in a single file. I guess the gaps will start to develop. They're not going side by side in those first few corners. So I'm actually anticipating there not to be another safety car for this race.
Yeah, I think you're pretty spot on there. I think they'll get back in their groove and they'll get back into this. On board now with Rushworth it was. So there was Depp getting absolutely sent. And there's Noble, and bang, straight into him came Rushworth. And then it was all hell breaks loose off the back of that as well. So see if we can get Nobles prior to this happening. So this was off the start, so through 1 up towards 2. It's right ahead of him. That's Tessariero. Oh, so he actually got a knock
Oh,
from
he
behind.
got a little tag.
Yeah, he got a tag from in behind from possibly Benici. And then it was just real loose off the exit. And then, and he didn't even have a chance to hold the brakes. The car just ricocheted off the wall.
And the car look at the carnage.
Just no hope. There was absolutely no hope in him being able to catch that at that point.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. A lot of drivers would have been caught out by surprise very much. Yeah. I wonder who just tagged him there. Who's that?
That's one. Is that
Benici?
Yeah, it's Benici.
Yeah, it is.
So and then, so he's tried to avoid Sheafy.
He just snapped it, yeah. And Roseneder was very lucky not to get tangled in that. He managed to get through fairly unscathed, I think.
Yeah, he was.
A lot of very unlucky drivers there.
It opens the door, though. It opens the door wide open for these championship fights now, Hutto. I mean, it really does. You know, we spoke about how Hodgkinson, to get from last up to where he needed to be realistically, which was above P27, was going to be almost insurmountable for him to do. He's already gained 16 positions off this start now, just off the back of that massive moment happening. If he can now have a clean race, it's going to make it a bit harder for Sheafy. It's still in Sheafy's favour going into next week, but it is going to make it harder for him to lock it out now here tonight, unless Hodgkinson has a mare early on and ends up at the back of the field.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to declare a Pro-Am or an Am champion unless, like you said, something dramatic happens to Roseneder or Hodgkinson this evening. But look, if I was a betting man, they'd be at very short odds.
Oh, they would. I mean, it would, going into next week, it would be, probably $1.15 for either of them to win. As Catacasinos. Sure,
we are away.
We are. So Catacasinos getting us going once again, going around about the same time that Davison did on the restart of race number 1, as well as we cross the line. We can see in the background, though, we got Byrne and De Bono and Gowans battling it through turn 1. Kanitska's involved. So is De Bono and Catacasinos. The leader is around. Unbelievable scenes off the restart here. I cannot believe we missed that after going back to look at another battle. What has happened to Catacasinos? Has he caught the sand? Surely he caught the sand, and that's what spun him round.
And I've just seen Johnny Rowe go off in the background as well. Similar spot to Catacasinos. So I wonder if cold tyres still playing havoc on turn 1 there.
Yep, there it was. He went slightly too wide, caught the sand, and that is what sent him out wide as well. This was Rowe. As well, we'll get Rowe up going wide through the same part of the track. So yeah, just way too wide. Oh, caught the AstroTurf. Okay, so it was actually the AstroTurf that sent them both round in the exact same spot.
Well, looked to be a soft bump there for Johnny Rowe, so hopefully not too much damage to that vehicle, and he can get about his...
There's been a moment with Kanitska and Tessariero!
Oh, that's not what we needed.
All of a sudden, the door has been kicked open for the Amateur Championship.
Well, Tessariero is going again, so... Oh, let's see if he pits now.
The car doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too bad at all, Hutto, so... What has happened? I can't even wrap my head around it. I can't even wrap my head around it right now. So, he was in behind his teammate. Oh, so he had a spin. So the car just unweighted. Oh, and he did actually smack the wall hard. So that car may be carrying some damage on it at this stage in time.
Well, both drivers have stayed out, so...
Oh, my God! What has happened? That's Mitch Noble! And Jack Anderson, I believe, as well, and Andrew Rushworth. So... Up at turn 2, it's absolutely going off right now, Hutto. It's so hard to keep up with at this stage. So Anderson was chasing down Hodgkinson, had the spin at turn 2. Oh, Rushworth had nowhere to go. He held his brakes, to be fair. He tried to pull it out, and Noble's trying to avoid him. Oh, it's a shame. That's a real shame for them. It's going off at the moment. It's going absolutely off at the moment. Everyone is having an off track all over this circuit. Can you even wrap your head around it? Oh, have we got you, Hutto? Hutto's mic may have disconnected there for a second. We'll wait till he comes back. But at the moment, Tyler Sheaf currently sits P10 on the road, 5 spots up from where he started. to give you the rundown of his championship competitor, Callan Hodgkinson, he currently sits P16 on the road. If Hodgkinson were to end up at the back end of the field in P36, Sheafy would need one more spot in this race. He'd need P9 to lock out the championship for himself in this race here tonight. So it's going to be a tough task for him, as Jamie Davis has had a moment in the background as well. He's now spun it round, tries to get the thing going again, but I don't know. This is tough waters right now for a lot of these drivers, and it almost seems like half an hour might be the limit for them to be able to withstand Brands Hatch here, Hutto.
Yeah, it's definitely going to shape up to be an interesting drive this evening. I thought, I guess, strategy might have played a bit more of a part, but if we're going to see another safety car get deployed in like the next 5-10 minutes, if these drivers can't keep it on the tarmac, that strategy might just be ripped out of the race. So, look, hopefully it stays green all the way through to the end, but yeah, I for one would like to see a bit of a strategy race. Someone take that gamble to pit early, take a heap of juice and get through to the finish line, but I just don't think we're going to see it tonight.
Well, remembering as well, they're going to get around about 19 laps out of a stint. At the moment, car 999, drive-through penalty, avoidable contact, turn 2 on lap 1. So Benici has been given the penalty for the moment that happened with Mitch Noble that caused the absolute pile-up, you'd have to say, on the first lap.
Yeah, not ideal. Unfortunate circumstances for that very, I guess, colourful incident that happened with all those cars.
Incredibly colourful. It was like a rainbow.
But, yeah, like I said, flashback to Montreal, but working parts forward.
That's it. Phil Vell's asked us what the track temperature is. It's currently 29 degrees out there, Phil, so it's not too hot. I mean, it's not cold, not perfect conditions, but it's not too hot. It's reasonable. It was 40 degrees, then I think we could argue that's probably what's causing majority of these issues, but I think 29, it's almost prime racing conditions, Hutto, out there. I mean, maybe a little bit of loss of grip, but not too bad. I think we're probably teetering on the edge.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it so early into the race. Like, we're only, 11 minutes into this session, almost 12. I don't expect the guys to be seeing such a lack of grip out there. I guess, look, you know, that turn 1 is treacherous. You know, you go too far either way, and you've got a wall just waiting for you to give you a hug when you're finished. So I don't see why there's such a lack of grip. Perhaps the drivers are just, you know, a bit confident, or, you know, a bit overconfident, shall I say, and taking that risk, and it's just not paying off for them.
Well, Piccoli and Gerard have now entered pit lane. Rushworth, Ferguson, Noble have not rejoined the circuits thus far. Josh King is back out there at the moment. Jace Douglas did not start race number 2. So right now, it is the more cars that do not finish this race, Hutto, the more cars that end up at the back of the field, it's going to make it harder for the likes of Sheaf and Tesseriero to lock in their championships, because it's less positions.
Oh, it's on the roof. Is that Gerard?
Who is that? What? What has happened? Oh, has he found the door to the Shadow Realm?
Well, what's going on? I think
Let me have
there's
a look
few
here.
cars in. Ooh.
Yeah, Sheafy's in. Top few cars are in as well. What has happened to Matt Gerard? Has he found the door to the Shadow Realm once again? So he's had a bit of a spin into the wall. Oh my God.
Bang.
That thing was absolutely decimated. Wow.
That was a hit and a half.
Yeah, and that's why it was a black screen on your side, Hutto, because he's, well, he has towed back to pits now, but you would have been seeing the underside of the track as the safety car is out.
Well, that we just saw all the car, just about the whole field has now come into the pits.
They have indeed. If we look at the pit laps here, top 4 have not come in, neither is Lipsky or Davis. Josh King pitted on lap 1, but he would need another pit. Thank you for letting us know, Barbs. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for letting us know the safety car. That was incredibly interesting. And Brooke not pitting at this stage.
That's the thing. Brooke is chasing that championship. He's going after Sheaf. Like, whilst it's not probable, Brooke is just, you know, he's throwing, you know, course to the wind. He's saying, no, I want that championship. So good on him for staying out there and trying something different. Also in P4, Roseneater. I guess, you know, not taking his foot off the pedal and taking it all the way to Tesoriero for this AM Championship.
Well, he has to. He has to at this point.
Well, that's the thing. You have to try something, right? If you continue on in the, I guess, in the round and round we go, just trying to take a position here and there, you've got to try something different. And what better than staying out, taking a gamble with the safety car and the rest of the field? But, is the tank going to last the entire 40 minutes? Because, if the rest of the field has now pitted, we still have 25 minutes worth of racing. So look, if the safety car can stay out for possibly 1 or 2 more laps, these drivers might be able to get home on that full tank.
Well, this is going to, it's an evolving storyline. It's an evolving event, this one, and to see how it is evolving at this point and how this narrative is evolving for those amateur and pro-am class honours is extraordinary. This was Gerard's moment here on board. Massive loss, and then bang, straight over, and just found the underside of the car in the ground. I believe he auto-towed back to pits after that. So it's a big moment. It's a massive one in this race, and well, Gerard was the one to have it happen to him. Oh, has it just broken everything? I think it has, because of the fact it went black screen. Hang on. Can I fix this?
Yeah.
I can fix it. This is how I can fix it. Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah, it doesn't like that. It doesn't like when you do a replay and then the car ends up with like the camera in the shadow realm, because then it doesn't let you return out of it. Bit like My Valentine of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. Just it's such an effort to get those people out of the shadow realm when it does happen, and well, it seems it does the same thing to iRacing as well. But safety car is out there, Hutto. Of course, we've got Brooke leading the way. Vernie, Schmalenberg, Ross, Sanita. Those guys all need a pit stop. Fahey is the effective leader of this race. Importantly, though, Sheafy, P12 at the moment. When these guys pit, he will gain 4 positions. He'll go up into P8. Hodgkinson, though, crucially, is only 3 positions behind him, back in P15 at the moment.
Yeah, there's not much of a difference. So I guess, this championship will carry on into round 9. I guess it's great to see it go all the way down to the wire. 3 championships decided in the final race. But I guess you touched on Darren Fay now leading the pros out in front. So I guess he's our current leader heading into this week on 1,013 points. And I think this just helps his championship just edge a little bit further in front of the guys that are trailing him.
It does.
As the safety car pulls away now too.
So we're going to be going racing once again here. Phil Vella chat saying no Blue Eyes White Dragon liveries out there tonight, unfortunately. Hey, next week, final round. I want some Yu-Gi-Oh! Liveries on these cars. Please do it. I love a deep cut. Even if it's not a face value card like Red Eyes or Blue Eyes or Dark Magician, give me something tasty to sink my teeth into next week. Please, please do it. I highly request. As the safety car has now pulled away. We'll see if Brooke goes at the same moment.
He goes early. He does. He goes.
Yeah, he's done it. So he's done it the same time that Davison and Katakazinos went. Vernie's gone with him. As Schmalenberg and Rossanita in behind. We've got Fahey on the other screen at the moment, effective leader of this race.
Good lunge up the inside.
DeBono absolutely sends him, though, up the inside at turn 1. Phenomenal move there from Dylan DeBono, who has now got Fahey all over his tail right now, as there's been another moment in the background. This time it's with Davison and Hodgkinson at turn 2.
Is that the moment? Is that the moment where Sheafy can take a sigh of relief, perhaps?
Well, the problem is the lowest that Hodgkinson could have dropped is P30, and he'd have to go a lap down for that to happen. So right now, what effectively has to happen, if Sheafy wants to win the championship, you said it, Hutto, he has to win the race. That's what he has to do if he wants to win this championship. He has to actually win the race. As Depp's been involved in something now as well.
Ooh, that's a big contact.
And it appears that Depp and Davis have actually had contact once again in this race. It's an absolute scramble at this point in time as the leaders come round. So we'll try and get some replays happening for everyone out there to see what has occurred between them all. As Johnston's had a big one now with Piccoli in the background as well. It's going off, Hutto. It is going off. Car 319 drive-through penalty incident responsibility lap 5, turn 2. That's going to Jack Anderson for the contact with Mitch Noble. So, of course, would have been for not holding brakes when he went to pull out once again. So
yeah, I definitely didn't foresee this many incidents happening at this track, but look, you know, that's just part of the league racing, I guess.
Oh, it's a hot prospect.
Oh,
Oh, it's just a massive
sat on
compression.
him.
Yeah, it was a big compression lock for him. Oh, and then
Lucky to get
Hodgson.
it.
Oh my God!
Just bang.
So Hodgkinson ran it wide. I mean, what can Danny do there? It's not even a rejoin at that point. It's just Hodgkinson just hit him.
That's an interesting one for RC because, you know, I guess you look at unsafe rejoin or joining wide and they're both off track, so we'll let RC unpack that one and just, yeah, keep an eye on that one, Hamish.
Well, this was Davis's. So Depp already went round and then, Davis tried to avoid. He didn't hold the brakes. That's undoubtedly going to be a penalty coming Jason Depp's way, unfortunately, for not holding the brakes off that one. And then this was Piccoli, as on your screen, we've got Pocock battling it out here with Rosanita. So Piccoli spun it round. Johnston comes around the corner. He just has to park it right in front of her. He had nowhere to go at that point. So good wherewithal not to hit her at that point. And good job to Steph for hopping in, having a crack tonight. And remembering she needs to hold brakes when she has a spin.
Yeah, I'm just looking back towards the front of the field. And, yeah, Darren Fray and Dylan DeBono, actually most of the pros making their way past Callum Rosanita. And I guess Rosanita just kind of just let them go past. He's not really competing with them. But unfortunately, having done that, he's dropping a bunch of points back to Tesseriero, who sits back in P16.
Yeah, he's only going backwards, and it means he's going to drop more spots below Matt when he does take that inevitable pit stop in this race, Hutto. So that's one of the big challenges now, unfortunately, for him in this race. Phil Vella saying the point system here rewards consistency far more than winning. It does. But although, I mean,
Well, we saw that last season.
Any
with
championship
Dave
does.
Well, Dave Roberts won it. I guess he had one. I think he only had one victory last season and managed to take out the championship, which was a fantastic, I guess, three-way race in the end. Like you said, consistency is key.
I think winning any championship, whether it be real life or sim racing, just quickly here, car 705, drive-through penalty, incident responsibility, lap 11, turn 5. So turn 5 is becoming a hot piece of topic here, Hutto, and that penalty that we mentioned in regards to, I believe it was Jason Depp. Where is he? There he is. P22. So yeah, he'll have a drive-through penalty for not holding brakes off the back of that one. And they haven't mentioned the moment at turn 2 with Davison and Hodgkinson as of yet here, Hutto. So I would say it's going to be NFA for me, even if it was called in or not, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, any racing series really rewards consistency more than anything. The only way it wouldn't is if we were to only give points for the top 10, which you wouldn't have a Pro-Am or an AM championship at that point.
Yeah, I think half the drivers wouldn't turn up if the top 10 are only
I
scoring.
think so.
But I think that's a thing at SRW. We've deliberately allowed points to go down to, I think, P30. Even for the sprint round, we go down to almost P30, with P30 getting like 1 point for their efforts. And you know, as a driver or former driver of this series as well, I'd like to be rewarded for at least something like turning up, giving my time, putting in the effort, the time, the practice, and hopefully just have a good time along the way.
So Barbers has also confirmed as well in the chat that it was NFA for that moment with Hodgkinson and Davison, Hutto, as we suspected. As Depp now comes in the lane to do his drive-through penalty. On board at the moment with Scotty Pocock on the big screen, David Gallo, of course, on the minor screen. Battling it out here with Darren Fahey and Nick Schmalenberg. Holding his own here with the pros is Mr. Schmalenberg at this stage in time. And they've got Dougie Gowans in behind them, as well as Byrne and Gallo as well. Katakazinos not too far off the back of this battle too, as they rocket into the third sector of this beautiful Brands Hatch circuit here. How do I mention it's one of my personal faves in Britain. I think it's just a classic club/Grand Prix style circuit, fast paced. If you can hook up a lap here, it feels absolutely mega. And I think one of the more daunting things about this track is this turn 1. You come up the hill and it seems like it'd be fast paced, but it's almost on to off camber as you come around the corner. Such a difficult way to start out a circuit like this. And then it only gets a lot more fast and a lot more difficult as you go on around this track. It's deceivingly difficult, similar to the Red Bull Ring. As Ben Brook still leads the way, ladies and gentlemen. These are the intervals at the moment between them. Nathan Verney is still well within this battle with Darren Fahey at the moment. You're on board with Schmalenberg on the bottom screen as he battles with Darren Fahey here for a top 4 finish. Verney's about 2 seconds up the road, having a solid performance thus far. This is the closest battle pack on track at this stage. It goes all the way from P4 for Darren Fahey, all the way back to Marcus Knitska in P12. This is heating up at the moment. For the Pro-Am class, it is Brook, Verney and Sheaf for the top 3. Schmalenberg, Rosanita, Tessariero, the top 3 for the amateurs, and then for the pros, it is De Bono, Fahey and Pocock at this stage in time as Knitska's trying to eye something up on Rosanita through turn 1. Can't quite get there though, Hutto. He tried to push for it, but he wasn't willing to just absolutely lick the stamp on that occasion. We may have lost Hutto. I don't know. We can't hear Hutto at the moment, so hopefully his mic can come back in as Martin Lipsky's had a moment in the background off the exit of turn 1. He's kept it going though, but he is going to drop a spotty to Kevin Wakefield. Currently for these championship standings, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Tessariero sits P15 on the road. Rosanita drops another spot back to P12. The longer he goes, though, the bigger gap he can build over Tessariero, which means it'll be less time he loses in the pit stop. But if we get a safety car and he doesn't pit, that'll be all over Red Rover. He'll end up at the back of the field, Hutto. Yeah, you're not wrong. I guess the driver's still having to, try and push past these other drivers, but do it oh so carefully, because like we said earlier, if they dip a wheel either side, it's almost death. What is happening with your mic tonight, Hutto? Seriously. Oh, I don't know. This is, annoying me to no end. It's the internet, it's the mic, I don't know. Just gonna have to get a whole new set, I think. I can completely understand your discretions towards technical difficulties. As a person who's had to deal with them many a times previously, it is not fun, especially when it's during a live show. As Pocock has managed to make his way past Daniel Byrne now. Katakazinos now separates the Carlins Motorsport drivers. They are so close on track through turn 3. Or turn 4. It is unbelievable right now up towards turn 5, which has been the real hot spot of this track here tonight, Hutto. This fast-paced right-hander, which, realistically speaking, when you look at it in retrospect, I'm not that surprised, because it's fast-paced, it's a difficult corner to get right, and when you try and get into a battle through there as well, it just substantially makes it worse. Yeah, if you try to go too wide, it only takes the slightest touch or slight offline for where you need to be, and it's game over for both drivers. Well, we've had a comment here from Phil Weller saying, surprise Brook has held the lead this long mega drive. He's done very well. He's driving out of his skin right now, Hutto. He's got a fast approaching Dylan De Bono. Whether he can hold him off or not, we'll have to wait and see. But he's only got 12 minutes to survive, as Pocock's had a moment. No, he's kept going at this stage. It almost looked like his front wheels jumped off, got air there. I'm not sure if that was a netcode type thing or just a bit of contact with another driver, though. Quite possibly could have been. At the moment, top 3 is Ben Brook, Dylan De Bono, Nathan Verney. Then Fahey, Schmalenberg for the top 5. Gowans, Byrne, Pocock, Katakazinos, Gallo, Knitska. The top 11 as De Bono's taken the lead from Ben Brook. So 11 and a half minutes left to go in this race, and Dylan De Bono now looks ahead to try and get himself another win here in the Super Formula Championship. Would this be... No, it wouldn't be his first of the season because he won at Spa, but it'd be his first in quite a while. So Spa was round 1. Who was that? That was Stephanie Piccoli. Yep, she's there off the exit. So Jamie Davis kept going. Oh my God, there's been a big bingle at turn 1 with Danny Davidson and Jason Depp. Oh, that's not good. But just touching back on Dylan De Bono streaking ahead from the rest of the pack, I don't think the pros will be too upset about it because Dylan De Bono is so far down the ladder that he doesn't really pose such a threat to the championship. So it's really the guys that are sitting in, between P4 to P10 right now is who they'll be keeping their eye on. That was one of the weirdest incidents I've seen in a while, Hutto. Depp at the half spin. Davison's then unfortunately caught the front end of him, and that's what's then sent him up. Davison, though, still parked up in the sand on the left-hand side of the track here. So De Bono, this is going to be a solid chunk of points from him tonight, Hutto. This will well put him inside the top 20 in the championship. It'll be a round win for him as well. But here, he's looking solid. And I think next week, if he shows up and has a solid performance, we're going to be seeing him at season's end in the Australian Open Wheel Championship.
And that's another thing. Here's another driver that's had those victories. He's been on the podium plenty of times, and I guess work and other things within life have caught up with him, and he's just tumbled so far down the order because the drivers that are turning up are putting in, they're getting the points and actually getting it done. So if Dylan can make his way into the top 20, that's another fantastic driver we'll be sending away in 2 weeks' time.
So I think now actually, this was Josh King who was parked up here on the left-hand side of track. He's still there, Hutto. He's been there for 2 laps. He hasn't been given a tow back to pits yet. So I think are we under safety car? We are.
Where are we?
Yeah, we're under safety car. So this now completely changes the game. Because all of a sudden, you'd have to expect some of those top-end drivers needed to come into pit lane. You look at Brooke, you look at Rossanita, you look at Vernie. Vernie had his pit stop. He's already back out in P11.
All come in, yeah. The top 4 have all come in. So Schmalenberg came in 1 lap earlier. Vernie and Brooke just transited through the pits just a second ago. And where are we with Rossanita? He's come through the pits as well. So, yeah, unfortunate. A gamble that they, I guess, hoped to have taken. But I guess, having that, I think the guys have actually gone up quite a few positions as well, like just by staying out for that first safety car period.
You look at Rossanita, he's probably the worst off for it. He's back in P18 at this
Still
stage.
Up 3. It all depends where those crashes were happening. And I thought, don't forget, he narrowly avoided, I think it was, Mitch Noble, who was tumbling through the air after turn 2. So, yeah, I guess probably back to status quo where most drivers have started. Benjamin Brooke, probably the car that's lost out the greatest, down 11 positions back to P12, and did very, very well to stay out in front for so long as well.
Well, if we look at the current class standings for these drivers, Tyler Sheaf could be on for a win, a second week in a row here in the Pro-Am class. He's currently situated 1 spot ahead of Shane Ratcliffe on the road, and then Vernie and then Brooke. So the top 4 in the Pro-Ams are all together. You then look back to Cullen Hodgkinson, who is P7 in class. He is all the way back. Oh, sorry, no, he's P9 in class. To apologise, P9 in class. He's all the way back in P22 on the road at the moment. So that would be, so that's 13 positions, 26 points. He is dropping to Tyler Sheaf in this race. Which is a massive chunk that he's losing because he missed race 1 as well.
Yeah, it's not the nail in the coffin. Like I said, mathematically, he's probably still a chance next week. It's just becoming harder and harder for Callan to get that elusive Pro-Am championship.
Well, what's also interesting is Matt Tessariero, P13 on the road at the moment. Rossanita's P2 in class, but he's P18 on the road, so that is a net loss of 14 points for Rossanita, being that Tessariero is P13 and of course Rossanita is P18, so that is 5 positions for 10 points of loss at the moment. But this right now spices up this race exponentially right now, Hutto, because all of a sudden everyone can get home on their fuel. The top 8 pro cars are the top 8 cars on the road. We're out of Danny Davison, he's a lap down. We're out of Jamie Davis, he's back in the field. Douglas didn't start. De Bono's leading. And how many of our championship contenders are in this top 8? Oh, let's look at it. We've got Fahey, we've got Byrne, we've got Pocock, we've got Gallo, we've got Knitskart. All of the top 5 are in this battle for the win here tonight, in amongst that top 8. What a way to lead into the final round next week.
Don't forget, we'll be hopefully taking this packet of 8 drivers into the Australian Open Wheel Nationals. So hopefully, I guess we can see their names at the top in 2 weeks' time as well. But yeah, you're not wrong, Hamish. There's 5 drivers, all within the top 10, all within a whisker of each other. It's a race to the finish. I don't think they'll be too concerned by Dylan De Bono being out in front, because they'll be having one eye on, I guess, the other 4 drivers that are just around them.
Well, it is going to be hell for leather towards the end of this race. On for young and old. It'll be a 5-minute sprint to the checkered flag to end out this race tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and to end out the final droppable round of the season. Aragon next week, final round to come. We still have to see the final 5 minutes of round number 8. De Bono leads, Fahey P2, Doug Gowans in P3, with many other championship contenders in amongst the fight at this stage in time. Safety car is going to come in. It is going to be all on for young and old here on the restart of this race as De Bono goes early. Fahey went with him. So did Gowans as well. As we start lap 23 now, 35 and a half minutes into this race. And it is all on here, Hutto. And any one of these guys could realistically win this one if any of the front competitors have a bit of a bingle.
Yeah, absolutely, Hamish. But I think the pro drivers will be a lot smarter than that. We'll just, it's only 5 minutes. It's only a couple of points they'll be dropping here and there. They don't really need to be making a mistake at this point in time. So I expect the front runners really just have a bit of a, not a nothing race, but really just see this race through to the end. Yeah, they may not be battling too hard for these positions to gain what is a net 2 points. So for another competitor, it's really not going to make that much difference. But the real thing is that Knitska, after drops, was leading by 10 points. He cannot possibly drop 10 points, so he will go into the final round if he remains where he is as the leader of the championship here, Hutto, very crucially. So we're going to have a 5-driver battle in that final round, as long as all these guys finish in amongst this top 8, for what it's could be, it's going to be wild. It's going to be very tasty next week, Hamish. Look, we're going to be talking about the championship for a whole 60 minutes as we go around Aragon. It's going to be a very exciting week. Three champions will be able to crown. One very tight championship and 2 other championships that are still mathematical possibilities. But each driver that wins those championships is well deserved.
A couple of position changes happening a bit further in the piece at this stage in time. We've got 3 minutes left. There's some tight battles happening further back throughout the field, but all eyes are on this front pack. De Bono and Fahey have now started to break away from Doug Gowans and Daniel Byrne. You can see that battle occurring right now. We were on board with Mr. Byrne there for a second. We're now at the back end of this battle with Knitska as well, as we can see Gallo and Katakazinos going too wide through turn 5 and towards turn 6 as Ratcliffe's had an off track in the background, and that's going to drop him off the Pro-Am podium. And it is crucially going to allow Brook back onto the podium now. And if he doesn't get this thing moving, it's going to let Hodgkinson past him. So that's another 2 points that he now gains, or doesn't lose, on Tyler Schiefer. There's a car off ahead. That's Andrew Cowan.
Poor Cowie. Look, hat off to Cowie. He's done a fantastic job coming to this league halfway through this season. Look, he's not, I guess, known for his open wheel prowess, but, hat off to him for giving it a red hot go.
Just quickly, Rossinida's had an absolute mare. He's missing a front wing, and he's having to come into the pit lane here, Hutto. So it's going to be massive points dropped to Tessariero, who's P12.
That is one hand on the cup for Tessariero.
It's one hand on the cup for Tessariero. It's one hand on the cup for Tyler Schiefer. The pros are completely open at this stage in time, with the top 8 battling it out for the win here of round 8, race number 2 for the feature. We've got a minute and a half to go. You'd have to argue we're going to have 1 lap left when they cross the line here, Hutto. They just have to keep it ever so clean over this final lap and try and make the checkered flag. That's all they've got to do just to solidify those points that are on offer for them right now.
Yeah, they've just got to get home. These pros, they're very, very smart drivers. They're not going to make a mincemeat of this last lap, or hopefully not. They'll just bring it home in one piece, I think. Take the points and look forward to next week as where they can really make their mark, hopefully.
Well, white flag lap for this race. Dylan De Bono leads to Darren Fahey, Doug Gowans, Daniel Burns, Scott Pocock, Kanitska's now managed to make it past Katagazinos, who's off the track in the background, has now dropped back down to P out on the road, as Sheafy also runs it wide as well. Oh my
he's
God.
still going forward. He'll be limping that one home if he's got any damage. Doesn't look like it's suffered too badly, so yeah, very lucky for Sheafy there.
He's very lucky, but it is, it's a couple of points that he's dropping, but it's not too bad.
In the scale of things,
it's nothing. Yeah, he keeps going. He still gets some solid points here in this championship. Crucially for him, though, and his teammate Matt Tesseriero. Tesseriero keeps going. He has now made up a few spots off the back of it as well. So there is still a net point gain for them over some of their competitors, as Sheafy was on up a move there on Benici before we moved away from him. But down towards the start-finish line now for Dylan DeBono, in an incredible performance here tonight to make his way from P9 on the road up to the front end of town. He comes across the line, and Dylan DeBono wins round number 8 with a round win for himself and a race win to boot in race number 2. Fahey P2, Gowans P3, Byrne in P4, Pocock in P5, Kanitska, Katagazinos, Gallo make up the top 8. Verney gets another Pro-Am win for himself this season ahead of Brooke. Tesseriero gets the final droppable amateur victory of the season before the final round and takes himself a net gain of 26 points over Callum Rossanita, who finishes... he's managed to get it past Timothy Schmalenberg. Sorry, just had a moment. So he's now got 44 points over Rossanita, who comes home P23 on the road after all of that. Wild scenes at the end of this race, Hunter. Absolutely wild.
Yeah, look, we're going to have to crunch the numbers once the results drop, once all the competitors have finished their race, and have a quick look at it. It's going to be a very mouth-watering round 9, Hamish. I'm very much looking forward to next week.
Just quickly, it's been pointed out by Greg Barber, there's been a moment before the checkered flag, and this completely opens it up.
Oh, who was that?
That was Tyler Sheaf.
It was Tyler Sheaf.
He found the door to the Shadow Realm, and unfortunately we lost the overlays as soon as we get to the end of the race, so it could not have happened at a better time. Wow. Wow-wee. That completely opens the door now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for letting me know that, Barbs. I would have completely missed it if you hadn't, so I appreciate it. We're going to get our overlays back up and running here, ladies and gentlemen, in what was a wild and woolly race 2. I think we can agree, race of the night, Hutto, out of the 2. I think we can easily agree, but wow, unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, that was a very, very eventful, not for the right reasons sometimes, not a great deal of overtakes, but I guess, yeah, if you're into a little bit of crash and bash here and there, it was definitely a sight to see.
I think a little bit is an understatement.
But look, it is set up, our championship round, on an absolute platter. Look, I can't express enough how excited I am for this. It just, like, the points, the drama, it's all going to be there next week.
It is going to be absolutely electric for us, ladies and gentlemen, in this final round of the season. We couldn't have asked for a better crescendo to end out this championship. Unfortunately, because I've actually had to reload the overlays, we have no B-roll tonight because I actually can't go back on the recorded data. So it means we're just going to have to deal with, with no B-roll for once in our lives, unfortunately, but that is fine. Wow. I can't even wrap my head around it. That's massive. I mean, it's... Sheafy, to benefit him at least, took points in a race where Hodgkinson got a 0, and this wouldn't be Hodgkinson's drop round. So he's lucky in that sense that happened for him. I don't know. I'm almost speechless.
Very, very unfortunate what happened to Sheafy. No, we called it just before, one hand on the cup.
Yeah.
I think he's still got his hand well and truly on the cup. He's got a very nice buffer back to P2 and P3. Can the other drivers do enough next week? We just have to wait and see, because as we saw tonight, that very last lap, Sheafy dropped what, nearly 16 positions there. So very, very unfortunate. We just need to get racing. Hurry up next Wednesday. Hurry up.
Please, hurry up. Get to us as soon as possible. Please, we beg of you. So we will bring in first, though, of course, our Pro-Am winner here tonight, Nathan Verney, of course. So we're just going to quickly just get our... If that's correct, let me check it. No,
Here's both of us scrambling on our computers separately. You're trying to do graphics. I'm trying to do.
I know. We're trying to get everything up and running here, ladies and gentlemen, to get this set up properly. But we'll drag him in very quickly here. Nathan Verney, you get yourself the final droppable Pro-Am win of the season in an absolutely wild race, which was almost unpredictable for a period there, mate. What was it like avoiding the chaos?
Oh yeah, really tough race, really tough track. I mean, with the high downforce setting in this car, you can even feels like you can do some of the corners without even braking and just throwing it out, and just how brave you can get. And yeah, you just got to really get up to that line then. So then just to see people going off in front, like by just pushing it that little bit too hard, it was tough. But I'm glad I didn't get caught up in anything.
Yeah, Nathan, fantastic race. I guess, like you said, you didn't manage to get caught up in anything. Just how hard was, I guess, turn 1 and turn 5 for the drivers out there? Because both of them seem to, I guess, have quite a few casualties out there tonight.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about which one's 5. Yeah, okay, yeah, off the straight.
That quick right-hander right down the back.
Yeah, because you take that in 6th, and you can do it basically flat. It depends on what angle and how warm the tires are, and because of the safety cars, I think it really meant that you were sort of going through the warming cycle again, and the competition starts cranking up, and you start trying to take it a bit quicker. But yeah, certainly that one. Turn 1, I feel like it was, as long as you could drop it back to about 5th and just hit the apex, and as long as you did that, you could go flat from before the apex. But I think I'm not sure what happened to Sheafy. I'll have to go back and have a look. But I think that going too wide and things like that would be quite treacherous in both those corners.
Yeah, like you said, going too wide. We didn't see a great deal of that this evening. I guess I expected this track to, lend itself to a bit more overtaking. Did you find if you were in a slipstream and then you, moved out of that slipstream, was it much like there was a big wall of wind or something that drivers were catching? We didn't see many drivers really get a good run on another driver and make those overtakes.
Yeah, that's a good observation actually. It is with the high downforce set. Normally, when you get the slipstream and you pop out, it's you just get straight into the air, and you sort of end up just going side by side without sort of getting a slingshot. But you can sort of get a bit of a run coming out of turn 4 onto the straight if you nail that properly. And the other person maybe makes a mistake, there's enough time to get alongside, but you're not really slingshotting past and getting in front.
I guess, last one for you, Nathan. Australian Open Wheel Nationals in 2 weeks' time. Looks like you're deep inside the top 20. You'll probably most definitely qualify. Have you got, your attentions turned to 2 weeks' time, or have you still got one eye on the championship for next week whilst you're still a little ways back?
Yeah, I've just been trying to make the top 20 the whole season. It would be nice, to get a podium in Pro-Am, but I'm basically on these since I've had back issues and that, I can't spend a lot of time in the sim, so I kind of rock up, practice like maybe 20 minutes, and then do the race. And so I wasn't really looking at that I could really go compete for the championship, but I was just about the top 20, and I've been. I think about 3 weeks ago I was about 21 or 22, and I'm thinking, I've got to really pull it out. And I just got lucky with a strategy in the rain in Monza, and then this is actually a track I'm not too bad at. So yeah, I'm pleased to be in the top 20, and it's just about making sure I stay in there really. Not so much getting the championship, because that's always been the goal. I think it's a great event and a great idea by the leagues to come up with that, and good on them.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, Nathan, thank you so much for coming over to chat to us tonight, mate. Congratulations on your class win here for the Pro-Am class. Let us know, helps get you out on track. Anyone else you wish to give a shout out to as well. And for myself and Hutto, best of luck in the final round next week at Aragon.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks to Locked On iRacing and the Shitbox Rally that JMac is going to be doing soon, and everyone can support raising money for Cancer Council. But yeah, I mean, and thanks to the team as well for not doing my paint in 2 years. So I've got my IGB one, so appreciate that. Yeah, thanks to you boys. I love watching this every week, so appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, Nathan. I mean, we love the old Tron RGB. It's almost become a staple of the Super Formula Championship, so we hope you keep it for the future. Best of luck in the final round next week, mate. We look forward to seeing how you go, and if you manage to make it into that top 20 in the championship, congratulations once again on your class win, and enjoy the week before the storm comes for the final round.
Right, thanks, Hamish.
Thanks, mate. You too. Well, Hutto, we will drag in our amateur class winner here in Matt Tessariero. Mr. Tessariero, mate.
How you going, guys?
One hand on the cup at this point, I'm sure you're aware. Pretty much rock up next week and try and get a solid performance for yourself.
Yeah, just need to finish both races, or the race, one long race, yeah.
So I've crunched a few numbers over the back here. You've got a 122-point lead back to Rosanita. Do you think you can do it, Matty?
I'm confident it has to be this time. I can't come second again. I think it's happened 3 times.
How many times has it been now? It'd be, what, this would be the 4th time, perhaps. So,
yeah, if it happens this time, it'll be the 4th for sure.
Mate, we hope, I definitely want to see you get up. You've tried and tried time and time again. It just hasn't fallen your way. What's been the key difference for you this season compared to those previous 3 seasons?
To be perfectly honest, it's equipment. I finally shelled out for some decent equipment, and I've just been a little bit more consistent. Plus, joining a team now just gives you a bit more confidence as well. Having some other guys, to run with.
Yeah, good. I guess speaking of team play, your teammate Tyler Sheaf is also doing very, very well in the Pro-Am Championship, and may take out that one. It's much closer than what the AMs are. I guess, how did the team approach tonight's race, knowing that there's possibly 2 championships on the line?
We were just all trying to, hope to keep it clean and just hold our qualifying positions, which weren't. They weren't impressive, but they weren't bad. So we're just hoping we could sort of just shuffle forward slowly from there and just keep it clean. But I got lucky with a safety car in the second race after an early spin. But unfortunately, Tyler didn't finish that last race. So it's made things a little bit tougher for him.
I guess, have you touched base with Tyler since the end of the race? How's he going after that?
I haven't heard from him yet. I heard that it was a no-fault incident, so I haven't heard his point of view yet since that ruling.
Because we saw on screen he got sent to the Shadow Realm, and then it took our computers with us, unfortunately. Yeah, I guess another fantastic race by you. Another week, another win. It seems to be. I guess that puts you, deep within the top 20, as well, as I was saying to Vernie just prior. What's your approach, knowing that there's going to be, 39 other drivers very well experienced as well? How do you approach the Australian Open Wheel Nationals, if you are available, that is?
I'm hoping to make it into that, and I haven't looked up to see what any of the formats or anything are yet, so...
Yeah, I think those details are still held quite close to the organisers' chest. So I'm still very unaware of or the finer details as such. But yeah, look, I've looked at a little bit of the field over at GSRC. Very strong drivers. I think we, as SRW, have a very, very strong field going into it. I guess, yeah. How do you approach that one? Is it more or less you're just going to enjoy the spectacle, enjoy being there? Are you looking to get a certain position? How do you approach that one?
My first impressions of it is I just want to be able to compete in it, and then if I can finish and just have a clean race, I think that's what I've always sort of tried to do. Just running with the front guys, just try and finish, stay out of the way of the really fast guys. Blocking and driving like a bit of a dick doesn't help anyone. So I'll just try and keep it clean and just finish the races.
Yeah, very good. Sounds like a very fun event. I wish I was part of it, but yeah, I guess I'll let the 20 guys we send from SRW do the work. Yeah, Hamish, over to you, mate.
Well, Matt, we had Sheefy comment in the chat saying his buffer's gone. Ben has the lead, if not only marginally close. He doesn't have the lead, Sheefy.
He does not.
He was 90 points behind you. There was no world in where you took a class win and you finished, what was it, 4 positions behind Ben? There's no way he was going to lose the lead over Ben after that. But Matt, exceptional race here tonight, mate, for you across both races. Exceptional season for you this season to finally put all the puzzle pieces together. Next week just comes down to the fact that you just have to rock up and pretty much finish. I think maybe at a minimum P30 on the road.
Right.
It's 119 points is the gap, so it's
122. So yeah, we've got to look at so that gap is actually what you're looking at, Hamish. I think it's just with the points. Yeah, 122 points back to Callum Roseneater, and I can tell you if he needs another say 60 points, he's got to finish 31st.
There you go, Matt. So that's your target next week, 31st position, and you will win this amateur championship and find yourself locked into the top 20 in the title race as well to make yourself available for that Australian Open Wheel Championship. So congratulations on putting yourself in this position thus far this season. You've done incredibly well. Congratulations. Let us know. Helps get you out on track. Anyone else you wish to give a shout out to as well. And for myself and Hutto, congrats on all your efforts so far this season, especially tonight for round 8. And best of luck for Aragon next week.
Great. Thanks, Haim. Thanks, Hutto.
Cheers, mate.
Well, Hutto, we will move on, of course, to our pros. I believe it was Mr. Gowans in P3 here tonight. What I think we might do is we might drag in Mr. Fahey first, and we'll drag in Dylan and Doug together since they both represent Velocity SimLab. So we'll have a quick chat to Mr. Fahey. Mr. Darren Fahey, P2 on the road here tonight. An exceptional performance from yourself in the hopes of battling it out for this championship in the final round next week. You led it before drop rounds. Kanitska was leading it after drop rounds. Currently, you are situated P3 in the championship after the points haul here tonight. And there's not much between you and the top step of the podium leading into that final round.
16 points.
There you go.
16 points.
So 8 positions realistically.
Who's leading?
Kanitska.
So we have Marcus Kanitska on 1,080. We have yourself and David Gallo back on 1,064. So only 16 points away. So what's that? 4 points per 4 positions. Yeah. It's going to be very, very tight next week. No pressure.
Oh, yeah.
No pressure, Darren. Solo flying the flag for DFR as he's been doing this season.
Oh, it makes me even more angry about dumping. I got 30-point penalty last week. Entering pits. Yeah, so and misuse of comms. So I'm going to be spewing even harder now.
I guess, Darren, we've spoken to you plenty of times this season. Did you expect to see yourself so far, I guess, up the ladder, getting the podiums, and so far, I guess, you are very much in the hunt for this championship heading into next week. Is that what you expected or envisaged at the start of the season?
No. We've just been fortunate that Phil unfortunately sits at home and with his lovely wife Monica, and he's sort of handed it down to a few other contenders now. So, yeah. If he was here, walk away with it. But no, I didn't. That wasn't the plan. I just wanted to come and have fun this season, and yeah, have so far.
Yeah, very good. And I guess we touched earlier on, I guess you've already qualified, or sorry, you're eligible for the Australian Open Wheel National. You've got a swagger of points being so far up the field. First of all, are you available? And two, hopefully you are. Yeah, are you looking forward to it?
I am. I'll if I'm around, I should be around. I'll definitely race it. I'll do no good though because I'm stuck at qualifying, and yeah.
See, this is the man that sells himself short. Oh, I'm not that good, leading for most of the series. Oh, I'm not that good, you know, P3, P0, equal second, heading into the final race of this series. Darren, I guess is this a tactic for you to like get to be the underdog with the viewers? Is that what you're trying for?
No, not at all. Not at all. But I'm not too cocky either. So, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought, you know, spent a lot of time on the sim. You hope you get okay at it after a while.
Yeah, very good. I guess you'll go away. You'll do some practice. How do you prepare for next week, and what's your plan now that you're riding solo for DFR?
Yeah, so I will do what I did tonight. So Monza, I put in a little bit of practice and it didn't work out. So I've gone back to no pressure, minimal practice. Have a beer before the race just to chill, and I'm having a beer now. So
very good.
Just just to relax a bit.
Yeah, bit of neck oil, take the nerves off, and you know, low expectations, no practice, and you just surprise yourself each week, and you found yourself much towards the top. Fantastic.
Yeah, good thing is I like Aragon. I like Aragon, so we'll see. Dark horse.
Very good.
Well, mate, we'll see if you're able to pull a Dave Roberts next week and win this championship from, well, what is third place in the standings, but equal second with David Gallo.
Yeah.
But it's going to be one hell of a fight next week between the top 5 in the championship who are all in contention for this title race. We wish you the best of luck, Darren. Let us know who helps get you and DFR out on track. Anyone else you wish to give a shout out to as well? For myself and Hutto, congratulations on your P2 on the road here tonight for the pro class.
Yeah, I think it's about time I thanked DFR. They've helped me. They've helped me along the way, and really just a chilled environment. Good bunch of blokes. Leanne and my little girl Harper, I'd like to thank them. Drew and Adrian, shout out to them as well. And I'm sure I'm missing someone. Oh, Phil and Monica sitting at home. And Jay, let's say Jay. Jay's overseas at the moment, lapping it up. So
are we also going to give a shout out to Phil's ankle as well?
Yeah. Hopefully he's getting better. Yeah, we need him back.
Very good, mate. Well, best of luck at Aragon next week in the final round. I'm sure those DFR boys will be pulling for you to claim another championship for that team. We look forward to seeing how you go and how you go in this championship fight as well, and how you may participate in the Australian Open Wheel Championship at the end of the season.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks
for putting it on SRW.
No worries, mate. Thank you. Well, we'll drag in our P3 and our P1 on the road here tonight. Hutto of Mr. Dougie Gowans and Mr. Dylan DeBono. Oh, we snuck you in here, Dougie. Absolutely catching you off guard.
You did.
We sneakily took P2 since you guys are both from the same team. And the last time we spoke to you both at the same time, you guys Bradbridged your way to the top 2 positions on the road out at Donington Park. That time it was a win for you, Doug. This time it's a win for Dylan. Yep. And it situates Dylan once again inside the top 20 in the championship. So currently situated to be able to race in the Australian Open Wheel Championship at the end of the season. But also, Dougie, this has now locked you into being able to race in that race as well at the end of the season. So you guys are looking like you're firing on all cylinders once again.
Oh, look, I'm very happy about that. As you know, that upcoming race is near and dear to me. So to be able to qualify for that, I'm pretty rapt.
Yeah, very good. Oh, God,
I was going to say, and yourself, Dylan. Obviously, you were outside of the top 20 for a little while there after missing a couple of rounds, but find yourself situated back in. Can we expect you next week, where you should be able to, if you can get a positive position, just lock yourself into that race as well?
Yeah, mate. I'll be doing my best to get there on Wednesday night, and yeah, just another solid result, just to cement that place in the top 20.
Yeah, I guess another fantastic victory for you, Dylan. How was it, I guess, trying to make your way through the pack to get back towards the front? How hard was it? As hard as we thought it was, trying to overtake other cars there out on track tonight?
Yeah, I learnt pretty quick in that first race how hard it was to overtake cars, especially when you're such similar speed, because you get right up behind them. Yeah, you get the draft, but you get mega aero wash through those fast corners, and you just lose all that time. So I knew pretty early on I had to make moves reasonably quick if I wanted to have a chance at winning. So I think I passed 2 cars before that first safety car, and I sort of knew I was thereabout. I had a look at the race pace of the other guys, and I knew I had a little bit of advantage on them, and just knew I had to run my own race from there on. Second safety car came out, made that pit stop, jumped Scotty in the pits, which is it's good when you can find time in the pits because that's another spot you can get. And I sort of knew those 4 cars in front hadn't pitted yet, so they all had to pit again. And I just ran my own race, saved the tyre a little bit, saved a bit of fuel, and yeah, it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, I guess, Dylan, the pressure's off you in terms of the overall championship to perform, and I guess you let your hair down, you're able to just go out there and do what you had to. Was there anything in the back of your mind, I guess, going forward for the Australian Open Wheel Nationals, seeing as you were sitting outside of that top 20 prior to this round?
He's sick and tired of hearing from me, I must say.
Yeah, Dougie was talking all week about it, and obviously that's great to make it, and at the same time, I also wanted, who doesn't want to get a win, and I wasn't going to do anything silly. In the first race, I wasn't. Danny was fast, I was fast, and at the end of the day, first or second is, I think, 2 points or 3 points, and it's not the end of the world if you come second in one race.
I guess for both of you, how much strategy or like a change of strategy had to happen tonight? So we saw an early safety car come out, and they kind of recondensed the field, but put everyone in a line, so it allowed for people to make a little bit of a break here and there. The second safety car coming, towards the end, or sorry, to N3, did that change the strategy for you guys as a team for this race?
From my point of view, in the first race, Sammy and I, we worked quite well together. Our aim was to finish around about P8, P9, P10, because we wanted to be on the up the front of the grid for the feature race, and that worked out quite well. Unfortunately, Sammy had that spin on cold tyres going through turn 1, and that put him out of it. But it put me in good stead for the start of the next race. I took it easy at the start. I'm just there for the points tonight again as well. And as soon as Dylan was behind me, I wasn't going to hold him up as well. Let him just go straight by and then tap onto the back of him. So in regards to strategy-wise, everything worked out well tonight. Dylan got good points, and Sammy and I achieved what we set out to do in the first race. So yeah, very happy about that.
Very good. I guess, Dylan, another one for you. Last week, Monza, it was wet. We know you're very, very good in the wet. Missed opportunity, mate. Where were you?
Yeah, just needed the week off, mate. I've been doing a fair bit of racing. And I had a bike course probably an hour before the race, and just needed the week off. If I knew it was going to be raining, I would have definitely been there. But just time away. Cool.
Work-life balance, mate. We all get it. Sometimes we all got to have a breather, but no, you've done fantastic. And I guess, lastly, for either of you, both your teammates, Katakazinos and Gerard, both having quite the spill in their respective races. How are they post-race? How are they going?
Look, poor Matty, he's had a bad run this season, and as you know, he can't attend every race either, and he can't attend the practice sessions like he used to. It's coming down to his work. But he was still, quite disappointed with me. So I feel pretty sorry for the fella, and also for Sammy. I mean, he drove well in the first race, and he was doing well in the second race, but then the cold tyres just caught him out. So very unfortunate. I think he still finished P7 in the second race, though, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Still a good result. Just dropped that tyre a little bit wide, and
So that's still a solid result. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you've got to be happy about that. Still good.
Well, just quickly before we wrap up here tonight, Dougie, of course, we've spoken about behind closed doors what the tracks that will be on offer to possibly get randomised for Australian Open Wheel Nationals. Can we give a little taster of what those tracks were, or what they are? No, we can't. They're still behind closed doors.
They are, mate. They are. I mean, the purpose behind that is that no one's going to know what the tracks will be, apart from the guys in charge. And as you know, Josh from Gentleman's, he'll be spinning a wheel with some tracks on the wheel, and whatever it lands on, we then have a week to practice on. So I've made my recommendations to them, what I think will be the best tracks that would suit that race, with the caliber of drivers we have there. Now it's up to the owners of SRW and Gentleman Sim to decide which way to go.
Very good. Well, congratulations to you both on your double podium here tonight, and to you, Dylan, for the round win and a race win to boot as well. Let us know how helps get Velocity Sim Labs out on track, and anyone else you guys wish to give a shout out to as well.
Yeah, like you said, big thanks to Velocity Sim Labs. Without them, without the team support, we wouldn't be getting the success we are getting. Haikoki Power Tools for their support. Hidden Race YouTube channel. Thanks to you guys for the broadcast week in, week out. SRW, all the guys, all the admin, race control, and all the people in the background that put the league on. And yeah, don't forget to check out Velocity Sim Lab on Facebook for all the updates.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, look, I think SRW stepped their game up yet again this season. The broadcast, we all come together to help you out there. Hamish, fantastic. But behind the scenes with, Hutto, I mean, he does an absolutely brilliant job, getting this up and running. And SRW and their sponsors. So yeah, we're all very thankful for that. Thanks, guys.
Well, guys, thanks so much for coming over to chat to us. Best of luck at Aragon next week for the final round. There's no championship honours on offer for either of you, so let's go out there, put full guts and glory on the line, and see if you can take some bragging rights for the final round of the season.
Oh, it's balls to the walls, Hamish.
Oh, I'd love to hear that, Dougie. Best of luck, boys.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Hutto, what a final round we have coming next week.
Yeah, we just have to take a breath. We get to rest and recuperate till next Wednesday, and then we do it all again, where we crown 3 brand new champions.
It is going to be one hell of a championship fight next week at Aragon, ladies and gentlemen. You guys do not want to miss any of the action. 7:50 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, or 5:50 p.m. if you are on the West Coast. It is going to be absolutely insanity for us out at Aragon next week. A multitude of drivers in championship opportunity. The top 5 in the pros currently sits with Marcus Knitska, Darren Fahey, David Gallo, Scott Pocock, and Daniel Byrne. They will all be fighting it out for the Pro Championship. Tyler Sheaf, Ben Brook, and Callan Hodgkinson will be battling it out for the Pro-Am honours, but it is most likely going to be Sheafy and Brook battling it out for that title. And then for the amateur honours, it's one end on the trophy for Matt Tesoriero, but Callum Rosanita could sneak one over him if he can have an absolute belter, and Matt has an absolute mare. Sean's asked in the chat, we show results per class. Unfortunately, we can't because we had to reset the data because the overlays decided to not to have a sook with us earlier on. So unfortunately, we can't show the results per class here tonight. But a massive week coming up next week, Hutto. It is going to be huge at Aragon. Could not think of a better way for us to end out this championship, especially leading into the Australian Open Wheel Nationals to end out our season the week after at an undisclosed location currently. But it could be one hell of a run. And for those top 20 drivers, it is going to be an immense opportunity for them to strut their stuff, represent SRW in one hell of a way, and for us to produce and promote more exceptional open wheel racing here on iRacing and on Australian sim racing space.
Oh, Hamish, next week it's going to be an absolute corker. Bring it on.
Bring it on. Could not have said it better myself, Hutto. But before we get there, though, we have to thank all of our series sponsors. Of course, our title sponsors, Warren & Brown Tools, for their continued support of the Tuesday V8 Supercars Series, the Friday night GTD Series, and the Sunday night V8 Supercars Championship, as well to Cooler Master for supporting the Wednesday night Super Formula Championship, and to Shannon's Insurance for continuing their support On the Thursday night GR86 National, as well as all of our other sponsors, NeuroPower, DSL Rail Services, Shunt Sceneries, and Grim Industries, the home of the V8 Coffee Table, which can be found on Prime Video's Top Gear Australia. We hope that you guys enjoyed the action here tonight, as always. If you did, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon if you haven't already to be notified whenever we go racing here. We got a massive week of racing to come up, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the rest of this week. Of course, tomorrow night, the Shannon's Insurance Toyota GR86s out at Hungaroring. The Friday night double bubble, the Legends will be heading to Oran Park and the GTDs will be heading to Daytona. Saturday night will be the replay broadcast for the Tuesday night Supercars series. Unfortunately, JP had some PC issues last night, so myself and Singer will be bringing you the action for that one around about 7:30, maybe 7:50 for the Bathurst Enduro. And then Sunday night, 6:50 p.m. at Warren Brown Tools V8 Supercars Championship action out at Bathurst for the Enduro. And then next week, it's final round action for 4 of our 6 series, Hutto, excluding the double bubble, of course. But what a way this championship is going to end out. But for myself, Hamish Munro and Brad Hudson alongside, we appreciate your time. Appreciate you being here with us once again. Until next time, we will see you here for the final round out at Aragon for Season 3 of 2024 of the Cooler Master Super Formula Championship. But until then, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.
This is amazing. It's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyke just